consult Marshall Griffin.
As a veteran and retired military attorney, I've successfully defended lifelong benefits and helped preserve professional futures. So I know that when you hire a military justice lawyer, you maximize your chance to get relief. With my unique experience, I can advocate for you because there's no military matter that's too big or too small. Let us help you make these critical decisions that could affect the rest of your life. Remain silent. Request counsel. Call Griffin Law.
For a free consultation, call 888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or just visit griffinlawdefense.com.
Good morning, Fan Run Nation. Middle of the week, folks, and we are mere days now away from being able to watch college football action. Let's go. It's here, man. We got a big show for you today, and it starts with talking about the priorities ahead for Tennessee football in terms of recruiting. By now, we all know that Savion Hyder was the one that got away. He chose Michigan, but all's not lost. Vols still have top-line targets, but what are our odds of getting any of them? We'll discuss with GoVols 247 recruiting expert Ryan Callahan when he joins us in hour one. Then we'll tackle another one of the Vols' most significant regular season opponents when we preview the Florida Gators. Feels like Florida's back on the road to relevance, but their schedule is tough as hell. Let's get a fall camp narrative along with how it's going with DJ Lagway from a guy on the Gators beat. Graham Hall, who covers the Gators for Swamp 247, joins us to talk Florida football in hour two as we continue our SEC two-a-days coverage this week. And then in hour three, we'll chop it up with our guy Jake Crain of Crain & Company. Jake and his boys are knee-deep in college football previews, so let's get his unique perspective on ball as we get closer and closer to kicking it all off. We've got some elite not-for-nothing-but topics as well to discuss. Yep, we have made the donuts. They are ready for today's edition of Under Review, so let's eat right now.
From the studios of Fox Sports Knoxville, it's time for Under Review with Bob Baskerville on Fan Run Radio.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Wednesday, people. Hump day. Middle of the week. 2 more days to another weekend. 3 if you're counting today. And that many more days till week 0. Just 3 days till week 0. 10 days until football time in Tennessee. And only 15 days till regular season NFL football. We are going to be in single digits on all this stuff in a matter of days. We've made it, folks. Descending on college football. Cannot wait. We're here to talk about a lot of it today, and we're glad you're here with us, too. We are coming to you live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios of Fan Run Radio. This is Under Review. I'm your host, Bob Baskerville, joined, as always, by Sam Beard. Back in the production booth, we got Brett, we got Jake, and you, the listener. Means a lot that you spend time with us however you choose to do it, whether it's live on the radio dial. We're at AM 1340, FM 105.7. Maybe a live stream on your desktop or laptop. If you're doing that at work, just don't get caught. You can use fanrunradio.com for that, or maybe your mobile device. You might be using it that way, tapping into that free Fan Run app. You can do it that way as well. If you podcast, want to listen to us later, that's cool. We are pretty much wherever you listen to your podcasts. And then on video, I see you now. YouTube, Fan Run TV, like and subscribe. You can also interact with us there in the chat box. We're also on X for video as well if you want to watch that way, again, on your mobile device. Fan Run TV on YouTube, though. Pretty badass. Starting to pick up some steam. However you choose to spend time with us, support Fan Run Radio, support Fan Run Sports, support the brand, support Under Review. Cannot thank you enough. Means a whole lot. And we are all about ready to head into the belly of the beast, and it's going to be fabulous. Let's do it together. You can also be a part of the program today on a live basis. Phone lines, text box, they're all open right now. Same number works for both. Area code 865-966-3435, 3435. Like I mentioned earlier, you can watch us or interact with us on X. If you want to go that route, you can find us at Fox Sports Knox. Got a big show today. Got a lot to talk about. I think we're all over and done with Savion Hyder, bastard. But on a serious note, we want to talk about that a little more in terms of what it means and, like why do we think we lost Savion Hyder? Do we think it was just a money play or do we think it's more? And then also the guys that are left that still haven't committed that are 5-star, do we really have a shot at them and which ones matter? We're going to talk with Ryan Callahan about that in this hour. Preview Florida. We've been previewing SEC teams this week, the ones that we feel are the significant matchups in conference for the Vols this coming season. Doesn't get much more significant than Florida. I guess, Georgia and Alabama would be on the top of that list, but Florida's kind of a thorn in our side. So we're going to talk about the Gators today with Graham Hall. And then Jake Crain is always joining us on Wednesday. There's just a lot to talk about today. We are excited about it. Let's get to it. Let's say hello first, though, to the gang. Sam, happy Wednesday, my man. How are you?
Happy Wednesday. Doing good. One day closer to ball. That means it's always going to be a good day.
Yes, sir.
3 days to week 0. Starting to make plans for the weekend. Probably got to start thinking about what I'm throwing on the grill. We were floating out the idea of making Irish cuisine, which I kind of immediately shot down because Irish food sucks. They don't make anything good over there. They just eat stew and shepherd's pie and drink Guinness.
Yeah.
I'll drink a couple Guinnesses maybe on Saturday for the Farmageddon game, but
yeah,
I don't know if I'm in for Irish cuisine. Let's just keep it to like wings and burgers or something.
Call it
like
a Farmageddon. Let's get some like meat out there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, I'm sticking with the traditional menu.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, pretty solid night for me last night. Didn't get into a whole lot. Been watching my roommate just mow through his dynasty leagues. It is pretty entertaining, honestly, to see him bring the Delaware Blue Hens to the top.
That's pretty impressive.
And then walking in here this morning, studio looks good, Bob. Studio looks good. Got some new decorations out. Feels like a little more at home. Got some things on the wall. Doesn't feel like we're just kind of sitting in a room recording anymore. I know we got more plans coming down the road, but things looking nice.
We're gonna get out of this interrogation room vibe. Mm-hmm. We're gonna be swapping out here pretty soon. It's gonna look good. But yeah, getting some stuff up, some memorabilia, stuff you can't see in the producer's booth, but still memorabilia nonetheless. Got the little SEC helmets across the way. I always dug the little helmets, whether it was NFL or college.
I used to have all of the helmets when I was a kid.
I did too.
You just ram them against each other.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even when you were younger, you're not exactly sure what you're doing with them.
No,
you can't really play with them. I mean, you can just kind of put them up as decor.
I would always you can take like the little the face masks off, and I would like swap some teams face masks and stuff like that, and see like, oh, that helmet could be cooler with this colorway type of thing.
This set of SEC helmets, though, Tennessee's is the smoky gray instead of the white.
It is, yeah.
Which
Arkansas's got their little silver one too. I think that was the Jerry's World game that they kind of recreated the Cowboys uniforms.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, I like that silver Arkansas helmet.
It does look pretty sharp.
Yeah,
it does look pretty sharp.
I think it's pretty good. But speaking of Dallas, did you watch any of the Netflix?
No, I think I'm gonna get to it tonight though, because I saw some clips last night of him being like, "This was the biggest gamble of my life, betting on this oil rig, and I poured $800,000 of my money into it, and luckily it gave me all I ever needed." And what he say? He's like, saw $100 million come in, and I told myself, Jerry, you just bought yourself the Dallas Cowboys.
It's good. I watched the first episode. I had other TV responsibilities last night, so I could only get to one episode of it. But I was like, I got to check it out. Mm-hmm. And Yeah, it's good, man. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun watch. They use that music that that you hear on the Modelo commercials.
Mm.
You know which one I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
I do.
It's kind of a Western vibe, like an old Western movie vibe, and that's what they did in this, and it makes sense. Cowboys, yada yada, but the font that they use and everything else, it's kind of like an old throwback film, and they're showing all the guys, Jerry and Troy and all these guys, and they're sitting, and it's almost like in a saloon type setup.
I like it.
Yeah, it's I'm in. I was you just forget, man, how good they are. You also forget how like prolific and like legendary Tom Landry was, because they talk about that, how he got shoved out and everything else, and he took it, like a pro. But they had a parade for him in Dallas, an appreciation parade for Tom Landry afterwards, and there were like 20,000 people lining the streets and everything. So yeah, it was a ballsy move by Jerry Jones, and it ended up working out. But man, there were a lot of second guessers. It's a great one. You can just feel this is going to be a good series. It definitely takes you back pretty quickly. So yeah, definitely worth watching. Brett, how are you?
Good. Spent the evening up in Heritage High School watching girls high school soccer till about 10 o'clock last night. So a little tired this morning. It's a long way out there. It's like 45 minutes, especially when you're going at like 5:30 in the afternoon down. Trying to go down Pellissippi is just a nightmare. But you mentioned these helmets, and when I first started at the station down at the old one, we used to draw these things for our punishment, possibly. So if you drew Vandy, you're probably losing that week. So you had to face a punishment come Monday morning, and I faced some tough ones. I did an ice brawl at one point. I've had to eat cans of nacho cheese. Yeah, I don't miss those helmets. In fact, I wish they were on the other side, so I'm not tempted to just smash them right now.
Wow.
But yeah, we used to be pretty hard nosed when it came to the SEC games. It made them definitely more nerve wracking. But when you drew Vandy most years, it was, what's my punishment going to be? You're just dreading coming in on Monday, you know, and stuff. So, but they are pretty cool. It's a nice touch. I like seeing them on there. So, and it looks great over here. So.
They've also, again, it's out of eyesight, but there's a Vols helmet, a bigger one. There's two white helmets over here, and one of them's this matte white with the black face mask. I don't think they ever did that, but it doesn't look bad, man.
I'd take it.
Now, Sam, did you and Charlie use this thing, right? This wheel?
Didn't
you do? What did you get?
You
did your own wheel. Okay, I saw the wheel, but I wasn't.
Yeah, we had the wheel of punishments.
That's right. You did your own thing as well.
The confidence picks.
Yeah.
We got some bad challenges from that.
You had to wear suits or something, or
he had to go suit for a week.
Yeah,
and he doesn't know how to tie a tie, so that one was interesting.
Yeah,
I did the gallon challenge. Didn't get through a full gallon of milk during the show. If I was in a 3-hour show, it would have been easy.
Yeah,
but 2 hours was a little bit harder. The mystery BLT destroyed me, Brett. That one, the T in that one was the end hot sauce, which is like the hottest hot sauce on like the planet, apparently. And it legitimately just like reset my spice levels. Like there's some things now that I used to be able to eat with ease that now I'm like sweating, and I'm like, I think my spice taste buds just got burnt down and mowed down that afternoon, and I'm having to just like build them back up like a little newborn. Yeah,
the hot peppers.
I do.
Yeah, those are rough.
I do.
Got a poster on Fan Run TV. Who feels you, Brett? He said, "Good old days. SEC Survivor was elite radio."
Yeah. I don't miss it personally, but
you're like, when you're on the other side of it, not having to do the punishments, it's a little easier.
That's right. That's right. Jake, how are you, man?
Doing good. Last day of summer for me. College starts tomorrow. Kind of crazy to think about. But
watch Alien Earth. I was on last night.
I did watch Alien Earth.
Bob, did you?
I did. I did.
It was okay. Not as good as the first two.
A lot of commercials, man. Yes. A lot of commercials this time. They didn't do that on the first two episodes.
Not a lot, but it's building up, I feel like.
Yeah, I felt they were in the mind games episode last night. There's a lot of stuff going on that nobody understands yet, myself included, but it was good. It was good.
I'm glad to finally have a show that airs weekly to get back into. I don't know. I've missed it since like Last of Us has ended and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's solid. I think we talked about, for the guys who haven't seen it, Timothy Oliphant is in it, who, Raylan Givens from Justified, and he was in Deadwood. And this guy's so great because he does a little bit of everything. He was in that, he was on that Netflix comedy with Drew Barrymore, the Santa Clarita Diet, So, I mean, he's pointed, and in this one, he plays like a cyborg,
a
synthetic guy. And he's very cold the way he talks and everything. It's just, he's kind of underrated because he plays all sorts of different roles and he's good at every one of them, man. He looks totally bizarre in this too. He's got like white hair and everything. It's a good show. It's a good show. All right, boys. We got to talk a little bit about Tennessee football. Savion Hyder, how are we feeling about it today? Sam, I was on the drive yesterday and they were asking me, and I just kind of adopted where you were. It's like the running back room and the tradition of it under Josh Heupel. I'll take our chances. And we kind of pivoted into, I think Russ even said it too. He's more about Tristan Keys, although he's worried Tristan Keys might be one and done here. It's like, well, yeah, everybody might be in this era. You just don't know. So
could Savion Hyder.
I was going to say, I'd like to find out. Let's get him here. But we're going to talk with Ryan Callahan with GoVols 247, kind of get his perspective on all this because that's what he focuses on mostly. I mean, he covers the Vols for their football coverage as well, of course, but he's got a kind of a bright light on what he does with the recruiting aspect of it. So I wanted to get his take today, and he's going to hop on with us, let us know. So we got a lot to talk about. Let's get to it. Topic A, when we return, Tennessee, a Hyder that's a miss. Get it? Kind of a, like hit and a miss. Yeah, Sam's just nodding his head like, go to break, man. Please go to break. Now, we'll get back to it right after this. Ryan Callahan joins the show. Let's talk Tennessee football. Stick around. It's under review on Fan Run Radio.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Believe in family. Believe in your fellow man. Believe in honesty and an honest day's work. We do. We're Farm Bureau Insurance. And we don't just believe in Tennessee. We believe in Tennesseans. Farm Bureau Insurance, Tennessee's insurance company.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance for Tennesseans. Believe in me for all of your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871.
A brand built in Tennessee and born from the love of the game. Inward Half revolutionizes golfing comfort. Crafted by a former pro and dedicated enthusiast just like you, our luxury performance wear guarantees you stay cool and comfortable through every swing and every day. We're not just a brand. We've set out to create a lifestyle for those who understand that impeccable style and premium performance are a hole-in-one. Enjoy the walk-in with Inward Half.
For over 3 years, Crumble Cookies has served the Knoxville area, from Clinton Highway to Parkside Drive. Even our friends out in Maryville have reached you, our fans, with the best cookies in the game. This fall, Crumble is gearing up for yet another fantastic season. Whether you're tailgating or looking for a pick-me-up after getting the kids from school, Crumble has you covered. Download the Crumble app to check out this week's rewards and features. And stop on by. Tell them Fan Run sent you, but don't miss the cookies.
The Drive with Russell Smith, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6.
Join us weekday afternoons here on Fan Run Radio. We'll be discussing all the latest Tennessee football, basketball, and baseball news with expert analysis from special guests along with your phone calls. It's The Drive, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6, right here on Fan Run Radio.
Flagship station for Tennessee fans. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Hey, Pack Rat. Yeah, you. Are you moving cross country and you just don't know who to call? Call us right now. Listen, you've probably seen one of our containers in your neighborhood, but did you know that we can help you move anywhere in the United States? It's real simple. We'll drop a container off at the location you tell us to bring it to. You pack up your valuable possessions at your leisure. They stay safe right in your home. And when you're ready, call us. We'll come and pick up the container and give you a scheduled date of when your furniture and the other possessions will be at your new home. So if you're moving across country or across town, be a Pack Rat. Join the Pack Rat family. Call Pack Rat right now for your free quote. See y'all later, Pack Rats.
Call 800-965-1298. 800-965-1298. 800-965-1298. That's 800-965-1298.
Welcome back. Topic A for today, the Vols. The one that got away yesterday when it comes to recruiting. This the way it goes, man. This day and age, it is fierce competition out there. And there's all sorts of aspects that figure into these recruits making their decisions. Felt like by all accounts we were down to the final two in the consideration set for Savion Hyder. It was us in Michigan, and yesterday Hyder makes his call. He's going to Ann Arbor. And while that bums us out as a fan base, there's still other big names in play. Let's talk about maybe what the reality is of how we feel, not necessarily what we can just say we know, because with these kids you never know, but how do we feel about trends and where these other 5 stars may be going here in the coming days and weeks as we get closer to a football season. Talking about 26 recruiting, fortunate to be joined by this guy. He's the recruiting editor at GoVols 247. Does a wonderful job at that. And also just a good overall guy too. Want to get his take on things and see what is going to happen on the path forward, plus other things with the Vols. Let's talk to him a little bit about, get his take on Joey Aguilar as QB1, and also this situation with rising ticket prices, you name it. Let's say hello to Ryan Callahan from GoVols 247. Ryan, thanks for hopping on, man. How are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
We are good. We were on the air yesterday when Savion Hyder made his choice, headed to Michigan. Can't say that was an enormous surprise. I think we were all holding out hope because of the silence that we were getting from the Hyder camp, hoping that maybe that would be a little bit of a pleasant surprise. Didn't happen that way, but easy come, easy go. Let's start there, though. And I just want to get your take on this because I was talking with Russell Smith about this yesterday, and he was saying, why do you think that happened? That's like, well, that's a big question, but you want to point to money, of course. In this day and age, that feels like the table stakes you need. It's like, who's got the deepest pockets. But at the same time, there's other things to factor in. We've talked about it on this show. Michigan's got a great history with productive running backs. They're a run-heavy attack, all these other things. What, from your perspective, and again, understanding that it's, somewhat provisional, what do you think factored into a decision like this for Hyder from your point of view?
Yeah, and like you said, some of that is tough to speak for him,
Sure.
since he didn't say a whole lot in recent months. But what he kind of cited yesterday, and what I think did play into this was, one factor. Michigan, just for people who haven't followed that recruitment, from start to finish, Michigan was considered the favorite as early as last fall. So really, Michigan's been up there all along. As we went down the stretch in this one, I kind of mentioned to a lot of people that there are more reasons to think, if you're just reading the tea leaves, that this might be Michigan as opposed to Tennessee. Even though he had been to Tennessee, I think 5 times as well, he'd been to Michigan very early. And one of the big things is he had a very early relationship with Tony Offord, the running backs coach at Michigan, who originally offered him at Ohio State pretty early in the recruiting process. And they had struck up a pretty good relationship during his time at Ohio State. So that transitioning to Michigan, him liking Michigan, and I think there's some, it's been reported, but there's some connections with Michigan in Hyder's circle. So I think there were some factors there that worked in Michigan's favor. And you just heard all along that he was Michigan's number one target regardless of position. And we saw, last year they had success with Bryce Underwood, landing him after he was committed to LSU. So that's one of those programs that has plenty of things going for it, and with the right types of players and the right players from the right regions, they're going to be able to have some success with some of those types of guys. And they clearly made Hyder a huge priority from the start and did a good job in that one. So I think that's one of those where it's no fun to finish second in a recruitment like that, of course, but I don't think you fault anything Tennessee did. I think the Vols really did all they could to land Savion Hyder. And it's just one of those where there were probably just some things working in Michigan's favor all along that just made it too tough for them to pull that one out in the end.
There's been a lot of moans and groans around town kind of talking about this current year's wide receiver room for Tennessee. But in that 26 class, it really feels like they're attacking that pretty hard. You've got Salisi Moa committed. You've got Tyreek King, and then obviously kind of that big target out there still in Tristan Keys. Just kind of talk about maybe the way that this coaching staff and the people in the recruiting rooms are kind of going after the wide receiver room for this 26 class after maybe 25 is not exactly looking on paper as well as some people would kind of like it to be.
Yeah, I think they've done a nice job at the receiver position. Really, the past few years. I wrote a story a couple, I guess last week maybe, on Kelsey Pope after he spoke with media, and I point out in the story, he's landed a top 100 player nationally at wide receiver in every year he's been at Tennessee's wide receivers coach, and that includes Nathan Leacock, who obviously that one didn't work out so well for Tennessee, and he moved on and didn't make an impact with the Vols. But they've kind of quietly, I think, done a better job there than people might think. It's just the numbers; they haven't gotten enough bodies in a couple different classes, and that's kind of showing up this year with only 7 scholarship receivers on the roster now, and they've had some misses in the portal that have hurt. Obviously, this offseason, you could certainly make the case for them to do more, but that's made it more important for them to go a little heavier at that position in the 2026 class. And as you alluded to, I think they've done a nice job there so far with Tyreek King, with Legend Bay, and then obviously Celeste Moa that you mentioned, that really the two-way athlete that is every bit capable of playing safety at a pretty high level in college too. And it's kind of similar to Mike Matthews in that regard. Mike Matthews, the guy that easily could have played safety coming out of high school, but wanted to play wide receiver. So to get another versatile guy like that looks like he's going to start off at wide receiver at Tennessee, it's a really nice receiver group so far in the 26 class. And, a lot of that, fair or not, is going to be the perception of that class will probably swing pretty heavily based on what happens with Tristan Keys, just because there has been so much talk about him, and we'll see where that one goes. I'm still keeping a pretty close eye on that one over the next 10 days or so as he gets ready to start his senior season. His first game is next Saturday, the 30th, when Tennessee will be playing Syracuse in Atlanta. So, there's a chance, I think, still that he could announce a final decision before the start of his senior season. And if he does, I think Tennessee is a serious threat to LSU in that one. So we'll see where that one goes if he decides to go through with that before his senior season or waits longer. But I think Tennessee's done a nice job already at wide receiver. I think Tyreek King in particular is a guy people probably almost forget about in this class because he's been committed for so long now. But that's a really big piece of this class locally that I think Tennessee's pretty excited to add him to that offense. And Legend Bay, I think for that matter, is going to be a pretty fun player for fans to follow this season throughout his senior year as he continues to play quarterback and work in some wide receiver maybe here and there. He's just a talented kid who can. We've seen plenty of guys like that over the years who make that transition from quarterback, just kind of athletic quarterback in high school, playing there because he's the best player on his team, to being a pretty dynamic receiver in college. I think he's got a chance to do that too. So yeah, they've done a nice job there and have a chance to take it to another level, obviously, if they were to flip Tristan Keys.
Talking with Ryan Callahan with GoVols 247. Ryan, we talk about, obviously Hyder yesterday. We talk about Tristan Keys. We just spent a few minutes talking about him and how he factors in as a potential wide receiver asset. Darius Gray, who, again, we know South Carolina is very much in the mix on that kid. Beyond those guys, maybe for some of the listeners who might not be as familiar with some of the other targets that you're hearing or seeing Tennessee pursuing, like a Braden Rouse or some others, can you give us a few of those that you feel are really on their radar but might not be getting as much publicity as some of these big 5 stars that are in play?
Yeah, well, there aren't too many names left on the board, just given where Tennessee's class is. We kind of say it every year. Going into the season, you want to be, you don't have to be done with your class, but you want to be approaching being pretty full. And just with the way classes come together these days and how many kids are committed by the end of the summer, you don't want to be searching around to fill 8 or 10 spots, ideally, going into the season. So they are, the list of names is shorter than it was even 5 or 6 weeks ago. But yeah, they obviously need a tight end in this class now. Lincoln Watkins, a Kentucky commitment from Michigan, is one that Tennessee offered actually on the day that Carson Snead officially decommitted from the Vols. Actually hours before he announced that, Tennessee offered Watkins, a guy they'd been talking to for a while, and even talked about getting him on campus in June before the summer dead period, and that didn't happen. But they stayed in contact there and have laid the groundwork to have a legitimate shot at flipping him from Kentucky, I think. So that's one to keep an eye on. Obviously, with Tennessee needing a tight end still in this class. You mentioned Darius Gray, Brody Smith, another offensive lineman here locally at Maryville High School. And then Tennessee still, I think, would have some interest in other interior offensive linemen if they can find any they, maybe can circle back to that they've already offered, or maybe some other guys that might emerge this season, others that they've maybe been evaluating. That's a position where you don't have a lot in this class, really just one interior lineman so far. So will they add anyone else there? We'll see, but that's a possibility, I think. And I think they'll keep tabs of Kamari Blair too, the in-state tackle who committed to South Carolina this summer. That's one that was going Tennessee's way on literally the day he announced, and then South Carolina kind of swung that one back in its direction late. So assuming they don't get Darius Gray, I think an interior lineman, but they'd still be interested in adding another tackle if they could get the right guy, and Brody Smith would be a possibility there too. And then edge rusher, I think, is a position they'd still like to address a little bit more. We've seen them still be involved with Hezekiah Harris, the Auburn commitment, pretty highly ranked guy that the Vols have hosted on multiple visits this year. So that they expect to get him back on campus sometime this fall. And then Tristan Givens, the Texas A&M commitment, Tennessee's still trying there after the Aggies beat out the Vols for him this summer. And I think they'll still look for defensive line help probably. So we'll see if any new names emerge there, and there are always new offers that happen throughout the season. So pretty healthy list, but not just a long list of guys that Tennessee's still after. And again, I think at least a few more names are likely to pop up at some point this fall.
Ryan, I'm curious to know your thoughts on maybe kind of the domino effect at the quarterback position here with Joey Aguilar being named starter. You've obviously got a one-year transfer guy in Aguilar this year now, but in your opinion, how does that kind of impact the future with somebody as highly rated as Faison Brandon coming in? You've still got guys like Jake Merklinger and George McIntyre kind of waiting in the wings, looking for that opportunity. Do you kind of, I guess we're looking pretty far forward without this season even starting yet, but do you expect to kind of see like another transfer quarterback come in next year? Do you maybe expect to see them kind of roll out with the young guys they've still got in that room and get Faison Brandon kind of eased into the college experience? How do you kind of feel like this quarterback position plays out over the next few years now that Aguilar's been named starter?
Yeah, I think whether it had been Aguilar or someone else, it still looked like it. Either way, next year was probably going to be about the younger quarterbacks. There's going to be a lot of attention, obviously, on Faison Brandon, assuming Tennessee gets that one to the finish line, and obviously George McIntyre is a guy that has turned some heads at times this year, and even in some preseason scrimmages looked really good. So I think you're going to have a couple really talented young guys capable of winning that job next year potentially, and expecting Faison Brandon to be the guy, the true freshman, is putting a lot on him, but he's going to come in with enough hype that's certainly not out of the question. So I think he's going to be part of that discussion. And then we'll see about Jake Merklinger. But because you're going to have a couple talented young guys like that, I think that will be a bit of a challenge. If someone like Jake Merkinger, for instance, were to transfer out after this season, who would be willing to come in to a situation like that and join a room that's got two talented young guys that are seen as quarterback of the future type players, that if one of them takes that job, you're probably not going to get a chance anytime soon. That's a tough sell these days. So I'll be really interested in seeing what Tennessee is able to do. We've seen Texas and some other programs able to pull away experienced backups. That might just be a situation where if someone does transfer, you have to kind of invest some money and just make it happen somehow, just to make sure you don't have only two scholarship quarterbacks. But yeah, I think next year is mostly going to be about, and it could be a really fun offseason battle, one of the more entertaining quarterback competitions we've seen at Tennessee in several years. If it's a Faison Brandon versus George McIntyre situation, and again, we'll see where Jake Merkinger is going into next year. There's been some speculation that he could transfer out after this year, but I wouldn't assume that's the case. He might want his shot to compete for that job next year, where he'll be a third year guy, kind of with the leg up in terms of experience that might give him a shot to be more of a factor there. We'll see how he develops, but yeah, that's a tricky situation if they feel the need to add anybody after this season, and that's it's something that might be make it tricky for the 2027 class, for that matter. I've gotten a lot of questions about that, where Tennessee goes in that class at quarterback. It's probably a class where you're probably going to have to look for a developmental guy to come in that class after Faison Brandon. So I think the next few years at quarterback are probably going to be more about those talented young guys and seeing who ultimately wins that job.
Okay, this will get out of your day job, so to speak, is covering the recruiting and everything. But anybody we've had on that's got local ties, we've been talking in the last couple of days. I know it's been kind of dominating the sports news cycle around here, and that is the announcement of the price increase on season tickets for football. We talked about this last week. The reason I'm bringing it up is, last week there was so much back and forth about the Adidas deal, right? And the bottom line was, we were saying it here. It's like, if you look at it as a business decision in this day and age, it's about the money and the notion that Adidas is going to treat you like a king compared to maybe how you were being, treated by Nike. Not that Nike necessarily treated you poorly, but you weren't a priority maybe. So we rationalize all that. But one of the things we also said last week was, I think the worst thing that could happen is I literally said, if they come back with like another round of some sort of price increases, whether, we've had talent fees, we've had ticket prices, I'm a season ticket basketball holder, and I'm always, stunned that they just keep jacking the prices up, but the demand is there. The reason I'm posing this question to you and get your take on it is, again, the world you operate in with recruiting, et cetera. From your perspective, seeing what other schools are doing, Texas Tech and, others, Kentucky, all these schools that brag about the money that they're spending. We saw it on the field against Ohio State in the college football playoffs. Do you just kind of take the cadence out of the equation, just the business plan? It's just new normal, right? Is that what we have to expect, whether we like it or not? Because again, it's never been more apparent. It is going to cost a lot of money to operate at a super high level, particularly in football.
Yeah, and do you mean the ticket prices going up in particular? Is that the kind of thing people should expect? Is that what you're asking?
Just, I mean, I guess my point is, that's it. And also, is it, it probably doesn't surprise you. It's more like, do we just expect to see more of this coming?
Yeah, I don't, ticket prices to me are almost a separate discussion in a way. I think because that's sort of where the problem with this one is, and I think why they've gotten some blowback, because it does come on the heels of the Adidas announcement pretty close together. And so I think the timing of that one probably a little unfortunate for Tennessee in this case, and it's probably something that they've had in the works for months that they could have rolled out at a different time maybe, and it might not have been quite as big of a deal. But the reality is, this is a pretty common practice when things are going well for any sports team, pro or college, to go up on ticket prices. And if the numbers, I've not seen the waiting list with my own eyes, but if the numbers that Danny White cites all the time about how many names they have on a waiting list for season tickets, or at least an interest list, in season tickets for football is true, then I'm not surprised that the ticket prices are going up because there's obviously a lot of demand for those tickets right now. And Tennessee's coming off its first college football playoff appearance. So there are a lot of reasons ticket prices going up. Makes a lot of sense. He's it sounds like he's even explored the idea of increasing capacity at Neyland Stadium to see if there was something they could do because there is so much demand right now. So I've seen pro sports teams go up on ticket prices when you think they might not. So that to me is just and it's amazing to me how much ticket prices have gone up just industry wide. It's so expensive now for a family of four to go to any level sporting event. Just a regular season game, much less a playoff game or a championship game or something like that. And that's it's something that's come on pretty quickly. So it's just an unfortunate downside. I hate the fans have to deal with it, but it just seems increasingly kind of the reality of following a sports team that some of those things are going to cost more money than we got used to paying 15, 20 years ago for that kind of stuff. And I'm not sure what's going to change that, but as long as the demand is there, I think we're going to see more of that. But yeah, you got to have money to pay the bills for all that stuff. It's all kind of related, but it's almost just a supply and demand thing, I think, on the ticket prices, and then the other stuff, paying money for the to cover revenue sharing and things like that. That's where you hope the Adidas deal and sponsorships and things like that can help to cover that front, and you got to be competitive on facilities too. So there's a lot to pay for, and Danny White, like him or not, he's great at raising money, and there's everything he's done has kind of been with that in mind, and also doing your best to keep the fan base happy. And overall, I know that I understand the blowback, and it's totally reasonable to not be happy with a ticket price increase like that. But the alternative is, you could be not so competitive in sports, and then nobody would care about the ticket price increase, and you'd be upset about other things. So that's kind of the flip side to this is you got to kind of take both sides and look at it. And when things are going really well overall, usually the downside to that is tickets are going to go up.
Ryan, as always, man, appreciate you hopping on, spending some time with us. Always feel like we get a little smarter on the recruiting front once we spend time with you. Let the listener know where they can check out all the work you're doing with Go Vols 247.
Yeah, lots to check out on the site. Some good stuff this week as we look ahead to the start of the football season next week. Some good recruiting stuff as well, and a great time to join the site right now. 50% off an annual subscription, or you can sign up for $1 for the first month to check it out. And had a projected depth chart on Monday. Some other good stuff, kind of breaking down the situation across the roster going into this season. So lots to check out there, and like I said, plenty more recruiting content on the way as well, and going to some high school games, all that. So it's football season, and we've got it all covered at Go Vols 24/7.
Absolutely. Again, buddy, thank you so much. Hope you have a great rest of the week and a good start to football season. We'll look forward to talking to you again somewhere down the line soon.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Ron.
See you, Ron. Let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll talk a little Tennessee football, continuing that conversation. He brought up a good point, Sam. We haven't even talked about that. This chatter about doing another upper tier at Neyland.
Bring it on.
That scares the hell out of me, just having to go up there. I get a little weary on heights. I mean, like, that just feels like that could be way up there. But we'll talk about that amongst other things. Preseason All-SEC team came out, etc. We'll get to it on the other side. Stick around. It's Under Review on Fan Run Radio.
Big Orange Country's home for sports. This is Fan Run Radio.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today
or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-8899-789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet. Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
Citizens National Bank.
We make it easy to save money. Get access to thousands of discounts on shopping, dining, and travel with the CNB Plus Perks account. It's a powerful new way to save money with roadside assistance, cell phone protection, identity theft protection, and credit monitoring. Banking at CNB has its perks. Call or stop by a branch for more details.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
Hey Knoxville, Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. Final segment, hour one. Continuing conversation on Tennessee football. One thing real quick. Did you guys see the video that dropped? UTA football put together their fall camp video.
I think I saw that.
Well, it was quick. So maybe you did 46 seconds.
What do you want, Bob? Like a documentary?
I don't want a documentary, but in those 46 seconds, I'll tell you what, I counted. So I had to watch it a couple times. And I think I was close to accurate. It was fast moving. There were 44 edits in those 46 seconds. So in other words, that's absolutely by design. Like, let's feed the sheep, get them excited about seeing some football, but we're not showing them much of anything. Just some guys.
I feel like every school's doing that. I don't think anybody else is giving us like practice footage.
No, but I mean,
what do you want, Bob?
Like to see a play, like finish out.
They can't give us a play.
Well,
somebody else is going to be going on to Tennessee social.
What I'm talking about,
that's a play I can dive, dissect for my future opponent.
No. What I'm getting at is like we did see what the Joey Aguilar to Amari Jefferson play, right? You saw that.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't necessarily see what the play design was or anything else. You're just seeing legitimate action. What we see here is a player cutting. Sometimes you can't even tell who it is because it's so fast. You don't even get to see what number they are or anything else. That's all. Just like to see some, if you did 46 seconds and I just saw like a couple things where it's like, oh, that was nice. It was a good looking pass, or that was a great tackle. We just didn't have any of that. That's all.
Spin zone. We've had so many good plays in fall camp. It's just, you got to show a lot in a short amount of time.
That's definitely spin zone, buddy. That said, the all SEC preseason teams were named yesterday afternoon. I don't know if you saw these, Sam, but no big surprises, honestly. As far as Tennessee representation, Jamad McCoy made the first team All-SEC defense. Stands to reason. He's a preseason All-American, according to AP. These preseason All-SEC teams came out from the coaches, by the way. Garrett Nussmeier was the first team quarterback. The running backs, Le'Veon Moss and Quintravian Wisner. Ryan Williams and Cam Coleman at receivers. Eli Stowers at tight end. So no big surprises there. There were 6 Vols named to the 3 preseason teams. On the second team, there are no Vols. I'm just sitting here looking at it. A lot of Alabama representation on the second team, particularly on defense. Tim Keenan, LT Overton, Deontay Lawson, Keon Sabb, Damani Jackson. It's a lot of dudes. On the third team, where, by the way, DJ Lagway is the third team quarterback. We're going to be talking about Florida next hour. Chris Brazzell, third team preseason All-SEC. Obviously based on some things they saw last season, right? I know he was on the field, yesterday? It sounds like at practice, but Chris Brazzell and Miles Kitzelman and Lance Hurd are on the third team All-SEC preseason offensive unit.
I didn't know having 300 yards receiving gets you onto the third team All-SEC.
Well, yeah,
I'll take it.
I mean, if you look at it, it's all provisional because the other receivers that joined him were Zachariah Branch, who's obviously great, but he hasn't played an SEC game yet. And then Trey Wilson from Florida, who was hurt last year and played like 3 games. So they're definitely basing it.
Had about as many yards as Brazzell did in 3 games.
Well, they're basing it on potential is, I guess, the through line here, right? And then, okay, a little bit of a surprise to me, at least, on defense. Third team, they had Arion Carter. That's not a surprise. Boo Carter, not a surprise. Are you a little surprised no Bryson Eason showing up at all? Not even on the third team?
Maybe a little bit. Yeah. There's some good names on that D-line, though, as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think I would bet on Bryson Eason making his way onto these teams postseason.
Yeah.
For sure. I expect a lot out of him, and I think he's going to be one of those guys that, maybe not an Omar Norman Lott type of production type of guy, but like maybe falls in line a little bit more of like Amari Thomas in terms of like the leadership and not being like the number one star on that defensive line, but still being a very productive player, a guy that you can rely on rotationally, a guy that brings a lot just leadership wise and kind of helping along the young guys onto that list. And yeah, I don't remember last year's all SEC teams like after the season, but I would imagine that Amari Thomas was on one of those 3 teams. So
I would think so too.
That's kind of the, for Eason, I feel like following the Amari Thomas mold is kind of just all you're asking for this year.
Yeah.
Are you guys surprised that Eason or Joseph's isn't?
Yeah, that's another one.
Because Joseph's, I thought, was like on a PFF top 10 like edge rusher coming into the season. So I feel like we got a problem if he's not one of these teams. That means, if he's a guy you're looking at being your top edge rusher, I feel like he needs to show up on these preseason lists more so than Eason for me.
I didn't even think about him. Embarrassed to say. I mean, you're right. That's another one. To Sam's point, it might be one we see on there by the time the season ends.
Hopefully he sees this list, realizes he's not on there. It's motivation.
That's right.
Like, hey, they're doubting me, kind of thing. So I don't know. We got to have him make a jump, though.
It's interesting, too, that, it's only third team, but still it's recognition. And, it just goes to show kind of the outward perspective when it comes to Boo Carter. Guy's a player,
and
right?
What about our running back? Like, you had your run game's been top in the conference the last 2 years. How about a little respect maybe to a Bishop or somebody like that as well? I mean, I don't remember who the third team running backs are on that list. But like,
Jay Knott and Caden Durham. I mean,
those are good.
Yeah, they're good.
Frazier and Jay Miller is the third team.
I was looking
second team is Ott and Durham.
but still.
Yeah, Miller's hurt right now, right? I mean,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's a preseason list. You want to be on the postseason list, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I don't know. I feel like maybe a little more respect was due for our run game and our potential there.
Some good bulletin board material for us. I'm here for it.
That's right.
Yeah, Aguilar's not on there.
No. Now, the quarterback's first team, we talked about Nussmeier, Lenora Sellers, second team, and then Lagway third.
Coaches hate Arch.
Yeah, no Arch. No Arch. No Mateer either. Some people have been gushing over Mateer. Must be his gambling problems.
Mm-hmm.
It's changed everything. The whole narrative's flipped on Mateer. He's a loser.
He couldn't bet his way on there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I do love this name on second team special teams player, Trey Smack.
It's nice.
It's a great name.
Except he's just a kicker. I need him like just flying down the field, just
smack the ball.
Smack on the tackle.
Yeah. And then they've got
really smack that kick.
Florida, also long snapper, second team, all SEC, Rocco Underwood.
It's a good name right there.
Rocco. Definitely like those kind of names. Yeah, when you start to think about particularly on the defensive side, we talk about all these names. It makes you remember. Again, I don't know if we top last year's defense, but it's going to be pretty damn
Was
good.
Ricky Gibson? Was he on a postseason list last year though? At the end of the season, like an all-conference team, he had a
great season.
He
was
right. Really good, and our defense was as good as anybody in the conference.
So good, he wanted more money,
and he got it right.
Yeah, he did. He did.
I'll see.
I'm just looking here. Florida's got some guys, man. We're going to talk about that, but on first team offense, their offensive line, Austin Barber, Jake Slaughter. Second team defense, Caleb Banks. Their front line is pretty nasty, man.
It's definitely going to be Napier's most talented team. I think.
Tyreek Sapp. They got some fellas.
No Ricky Gibson on the teams last year.
Okay.
You better earn that money this year, boys.
All right. McCoy wasn't even first team.
Really?
Wasn't he really?
Mm-mm.
Wow. Well, there were a lot of good ones at Texas and Georgia.
Mm-hmm. He was second team. Malachi Starks was also second team, and he was a first-round draft pick. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
All I ever will remember from Malachi Starks last year was it last year's game, that opener where he made that interception.
Sideline,
yeah.
Against Clemson.
Yeah, it was incredible. All right, that wraps up hour one. Let's take a break. When we return, we're going to start to drill down on another SEC opponent for the Vols as we get closer and closer to the season. Today, we're going to spend some time focusing on Florida. Got to do it, though. Thorn in our side. We got to talk about them. Like we were just saying, Billy Napier's probably got his highest level of talent coming back, but man, what a schedule that lies ahead for him. It's just like last year. But they finished strong. Can they keep the momentum going? We're going to talk about that. We'll be joined by Graham Hall, also in hour two, who covers the Gators for Swamp 247. A lot coming up. Stick around. We'll be right back. It's Under Review on Fan Run Radio.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville. Fan Run Radio.
We really need to get some branded stuff. Shirts, hats, promo items, something professional.
I mean, we could just find a website and order a bunch of it ourselves.
You could, but you're taking a big risk. You don't know the quality, the fit, the timeline. It's a roll of the dice.
Yeah, I guess. But isn't that how everyone does it now?
Not the ones who actually care about how their brand looks. Look, if we're putting our name on it, it needs to be done right. We need SM Athletics.
SM Athletics?
Yeah, they specialize in working with businesses like ours. Apparel, hats, promo gear, but real, customized stuff. They actually care if it turns out right.
Probably a lot better than getting stuck with 100 t-shirts with crooked logos.
Exactly. Plus, they'll walk you through everything. Sizing, colors, material, so it matches the image we're trying to build.
Makes sense. What's the name again?
SM Athletics. Trust me, if you want to look like a real company, not a flea market stand, this is the move. If you're serious about your brand, work with people who are serious about getting it right. SM Athletics.
White Claw is taking hard seltzer to new heights with White Claw Surge. At 8% alcohol, White Claw Surge is a stronger wave of refreshment that doesn't compromise on taste. Available in 4 bold waves of flavor like ripe blackberry, citrusy blood orange, zesty natural lime, and tart cranberry. Check out your favorite retailer in-store and online for the White Claw Surge Variety 12-pack and 16-ounce single-serve cans. White Claw Surge. Please drink responsibly.
In a world filled with deadlines and screens, sometimes we forget the simple joys of life, days filled with special moments. At Inward Half, we understand the essence of these moments. Feel the difference between disconnect and reconnect with what truly matters. Inward Half, simple luxury for on and off the course.
Are you ready to show off that confident, radiant smile you've always dreamed of? Well, here at Knoxville Smiles, we're ready to turn your dream into a reality. At Knoxville Smiles, we're more than just a dental practice. We're your partners in achieving optimum oral health. From routine cleanings and checkups to advanced cosmetics and restorative procedures, we offer a wide range of services in an environment that makes every visit a positive and comfortable experience. At Knoxville Smiles, it's about more than just treatments. We're focused on creating a welcoming environment where you feel like family. Our state-of-the-art facilities are designed with your comfort in mind, and our friendly staff is always ready to address your questions and concerns. Don't wait any longer to achieve a beautiful smile you deserve. Schedule your appointment at Knoxville Smiles today and take that first step towards a healthier, happier you. Call us at 865-539-1776 to book your appointment today, or just visit our website at knoxvillesmiles.com.
Hour 2 of Under Review starts now.
Welcome back to the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios of Fox Sports Knoxville, Fan Run Radio. It's Under Review on a Wednesday, making our way through. Bob and Sam and Brett and Jake all here, and you as well. You're along for the ride. We appreciate you listening. You can be a part of the program. Call or text us at area code 865-966-3435. That's 966-3435. You can also hit us up on X at Fox Sports Knox. You know what I brought in today, Sam?
What's that?
I only brought one. Little Take 5.
Only one. Really, Bob? Do you have others?
I had one. I had a second. I had it in the car.
Oh, you have a second one in the car?
No, I ate it.
Oh.
Wouldn't want to leave chocolate in your car.
No,
it's too hot.
Not around here.
You can't beat the Take 5.
The Take 5
it's on like the Mount Rushmore.
It's a top 2 or 3 for me, without a doubt. Jake,
all the flavors in there.
Yeah. Jake, you familiar with the Take 5?
I'm familiar with the Take 5. I can get behind a Take 5.
I mean, it's everything, right? It's pretzel, caramel, peanut butter.
All the goodness in life that you need.
Sorry, I didn't mean to rub it in. Everybody loves them, and I just
I was hoping you to be like, oh, I brought in Take 5s for the group.
Yeah,
let's go.
Taste test today. Let's try something everybody just universally loves. I didn't check out the pork rinds bags. I'll have to do that in the next break. See if any of them have receded in terms of consumption over in the kitchen. Joke's on them if they go after those sweet heat barbecue ones.
Stale.
I'm still upset about this.
Very upset. I almost went and got another bag just to
Really?
Yeah, I was tempted. Like, nah, I don't need those. But you kind of get your heart set on it.
It's hard not to.
Yeah.
It's hard not to.
All right, let's talk a little football. We've been spending time this week focusing on teams in the conference that the Vols will be playing this season. We're not doing every single one of them because I don't know. I just don't know if I can handle talking about Kentucky football. Or, by the way, they have a quarterback controversy there. Have you heard that?
What?
They have two quarterbacks that apparently it's going to be who sucks less. It's not just Calzada. I thought he was the guy, but they're saying there's some other name now of a guy that's in consideration for the QB1 job.
Bad news for them.
That's just, yeah, it's not
Bad
a good
news for
sign.
them.
Not a good sign.
Are they trying to catch Auburn?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you saw Jake Crane's post on that. He was like, you really don't know ball if you think what Hugh Freeze said was he's planning on playing three quarterbacks. It was like, he's basically saying, you know, one of them's going to emerge. It's more, sounds like he's trying to get in Jackson Arnold's head a little bit, right?
I can't remember which one. I saw that clip. I can't remember which one of the guys it was. But he was basically saying, like, you know, I think this is Hugh Freeze just saying he thinks Auburn's going to beat up on Baylor so bad that they're going to be able to play all three in the game.
Man, just imagine what that vibe will be like if they lose at Waco. And Baylor's pretty good, man. I mean, but it won't matter. These fans are going to be so unreasonable. Yeah. Anyway, so what we're focusing on this week are the games that I felt we should consider as the most significant in the conference schedule. We've covered Georgia because they were first in the queue. I mean, we're playing them in like a little over 3 weeks. It's a little scary. Then we yesterday talked about Arkansas, which that game matters to us because we lost to them last year. Kind of precluded us from probably hosting a college football playoff game. Costly loss. We still got big names. Alabama is obviously going to be in the queue this week. But then we're going to also focus on a couple games that we have talked about a lot as teams that we need to win at least one, preferably two of these games. If you win two, I think you're squarely in the college football playoff conversation again. It's Oklahoma. And then the team we're talking about today, which is the Florida Gators. Florida. The perennial thorn in our side. We were basking in their ineptitude for a little while, but feels like they kind of got back on track late last season. Finished the season 8-5. Rough start for them. Rough start, but a strong finish. Sam, including their bowl game win in the much anticipated Gasparilla Bowl. Gators won their last 4 games last season and some pretty big ones too.
Yeah, I mean, I would say those last 4 games were the reason why Billy Napier's still the head coach of the Florida Gators. Correct. Right now. You got, ranked wins over LSU and Ole Miss there to kind of finish off your season, and that propels you forward. And we'll see where you go at, or where you start out this year, because it obviously doesn't get any easier. It's pretty much that same Florida schedule, just flip-flopped around. And so it is once again kind of going uphill a little bit here with this Florida team. And I am interested to kind of get Graham's take here in a little bit, just on, what is success for this Florida team this year. And, I felt like last year you were able to kind of maybe say to Billy Napier, like, hey, man, I know this is a tough year. We'll buy you a little bit of we'll give you a little bit of grace here. The leash is a little bit longer, but I am interested to see maybe how that tune kind of changes after ending last season on a 4-game win streak and returning some good production and having a quarterback in DJ Lagway that has all the talent in the world on paper. I am very interested to kind of see, like, what is the measuring stick of success for this Florida team this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think back to last year too. We've talked about it. They played Tennessee tough here at Neyland. Maybe a Graham Mertz injury away from winning that game. I mean, it just feels like we have trouble. Even when we win, we have trouble putting them away for the most part. And it's, I think back to the Anthony Richardson game here in Knoxville as well, where God, that thing went down to the wire. That was one of our best teams ever, too,
Pretty much. We know it's just never going to be a game that is going to come easy to you.
No.
I think you just gotta accept that, and you gotta just get out of there as best you can. Any win's a win against Florida, no matter where it's at. No matter how pretty or how ugly, win's a win.
Brett, out of your kind of your personal rankings, obviously beating Alabama is top of the list for Tennessee in terms of priorities. At this point, it feels like, Georgia's the one we haven't been able to beat. But is Georgia, do you rank Georgia a bigger priority to beat? Which one's more satisfying, Georgia or Florida?
It's Florida for me.
Yeah.
Now Florida was always the game early in the season, and a lot of times it determined who was going to go to the SEC championship growing up. SEC East was always on the line, it seemed like, and they would always beat you. They still kind of always beat you. And now I'll have it at the end of the season. It could be for an even bigger reason than it was before, because a playoff spot could be on the line. Florida might have a bunch of losses going into our game, but I feel like they're going to be competitive. And they might win some, but they might lose some, but they're going to be a good football team. You can't really look at their record, I don't feel like, and it's going to be a competitive game at the end. And I think I've seen us beat them once in my lifetime in Florida. So that's just another obstacle we're going to have to fight this year. Going down there is being a good football team on top of the elements that we seem to can't overcome.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at, we talked about last season how tough their schedule was, and obviously, for the most part, the conference schedule's mirrored, right?
Right.
You could argue that this season's schedule for Florida, I'm just looking at the road games. If you just look at the road games and you factor in that it stands to reason it's tougher to win on the road, their schedule might be tougher this year in that regard, because they're at LSU, they're at Miami, at A&M, at Ole Miss. They play Texas at home and Georgia, neutral site.
I'm not going to group Miami into a tough road environment, Bob.
You don't.
That'll be 70% Florida fans in that stadium.
That's fair.
The game should be tough.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. I mean, we've talked about that. I think we all kind of agree, at least if you look at that pathway of teams that are preseason ranked top 10 that may not be ranked when it's all said and done. Miami might be the team this year that fits that mold, coming in at number 10, right?
Just a lot of unknowns surrounding Carson Beck, obviously. Like, do you get the Heisman contending Carson Beck, or do you get last year's Carson Beck kind of leading that Miami team? I
don't know how he played against Florida last year. I feel like it was an ugly game.
Oh, God. It was.
Was it raining? I can't remember if it was raining down there.
No, it was beyond ugly, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
they ended up winning by a couple of scores, but I mean, I felt like it was close into the fourth quarter for that game.
Yeah. I just know that was where everybody's like, damn, Cam Ward.
Carson Beck last year in the Georgia-Florida game.
Oh, you're talking about I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I thought you were talking about
Carson.
Miami.
Yeah, well, Miami played them, but Carson Beck.
Gotcha.
25 of 40 for 309 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 picks against Florida last year.
I feel like he was throwing a lot of picks last year.
He was.
Top of the touchdowns.
Because that was the game that, like, Lagway went down. They were looking really good early. Florida was in that first half, and then Lagway went down with that injury, and Georgia was able to pull away in the second half.
Well, even like you kind of look at the South Florida game at home, like early in the season, like Golish might have something for him too. So it's not the easiest game to have at home, and Florida notoriously starts slow for some reason. At least last year they did.
Who knew Long Island had a football team? By the way, that's their season opener. I'm being serious. I would have had no idea.
I feel like I've only ever seen Long Island play Florida, though.
I mean, Google doesn't even have a logo for them.
No, I mean, that's crazy. That is crazy.
The Sharks.
That's what they are, the Sharks.
They got a good-looking logo, honestly.
They used to be, LIU in basketball used to be the Blackbirds. So now they're the Sharks. Sharks is better, tougher, meaner.
Lost by 14 to Villanova last year.
Good God.
I guess we'll ask this guy where DJ Lagway is currently with his injury stuff too. I mean, it's gonna be crazy because you might end up seeing Harrison Bailey at some point this season, which would be just
that would be a double whammy right there, Brett. You go down to the
gosh.
swamp and then you
That'd be
can't
the
win a
worst
game
loss
in the
I've ever
swamp, and then
experienced.
Harrison Bailey is the one that beats you. Like I'd rather DJ Lagway beat me by 50 than lose by 7 in the swamp to Harrison Bailey.
I'm sorry, Heupel.
That would be the meltdown by the fan base would be
would be an all-time voluntary reaction, though.
Yes. Yes, it would be.
That would break I don't even want to think about that, honestly, because that's just be the top voodoo. I'm like, I can't even get that in my mind.
Yeah.
I'm like crying over here. Don't do that, Sam.
Brett won't show up to work for that next week.
Oh, no way. We don't deserve a playoff spot. I don't care if we lose and we're like 9-3. You can't do that. You cannot do that.
I got to tell you, I don't love the placement of that game with Florida this year on the schedule. I mean, that's going into what? That's going into Thanksgiving week.
Second to last week of the year.
But the last time we won in the swamp, it was in December.
Right.
So that's like, okay, well, maybe we do better. But like,
I don't think there's a whole lot of in between with going down to Florida in the second to last game of the year. I think you're either going to be playing just like a completely defeated Florida team that kind of knows their coach is on the way out and they don't have much to play for, or they're just having a pretty solid season and they've got a lot of momentum behind them. I'm struggling to kind of find like a middle ground in that one. I feel like they're either just going to be real cold or real hot.
I just think they're going to have all these losses. It's just what they do in these losses.
How motivated do they stay? Yeah.
I mean, they do have a tough schedule, like anybody, but they're as talented as anybody on paper.
Yeah, and they showed a hell of a lot of resiliency last year, right? I mean, they lost 3 out of 4 when you count our game, and then they beat Kentucky, and then they lost to Georgia and Texas, and then they bounced back. I mean, that says a lot. Say what we want about Billy Napier, but he did something to keep that team together.
Absolutely.
So, all right, let's get to the guy who covers Florida. We're going to take a break. When we return, we'll continue this conversation. We'll be joined by Graham Hall, who's with Swamp 247, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. He's been on the show before when we've talked Florida basketball. This will be our first time talking Florida football with him, I believe. But let's get to it. We'll talk about it with Graham on the other side, see what his take is so far from what they're doing in fall camp. We'll be right back. It's Under Review on Fan Run Radio.
Catch up with all things Fan Run by subscribing to our podcast feed. Like, rate, and download the show from the Fan Run app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, folks, if you're in need of a lawyer, you need to call my friend Jerry Givens. I've known Jerry since high school and can personally vouch for him. He's East Tennessee through and through. And if you're going through a divorce, bankruptcy, or a DUI case, you'll need someone you can trust on your side to help you navigate the local legal system. You can trust Jerry Givens. Call the law offices of Jerry Givens today at 865-801-9250 to schedule your free consultation. That's 801-9250.
This is one of the last homestands to see your Knoxville Smokies play this season. This week will be full of celebrations with All You Can Eat Wednesday and Titans Night on Thursday. You could win a free Titans autographed jersey and tickets to an upcoming game. Then the weekend is packed with fireworks on Friday. Saturday is UT Night with a Dylan Sampson bobblehead giveaway and fireworks, and our day game of the week on Sunday. Grab your tickets now at SmokiesBaseball.com.
Knoxville Smokies.
Dental health is so important. It's one of those things that if you don't stay on top of it, it can really come back to haunt you, both financially and, of course, in terms of your physical health. If it's been a while since you've been to the dentist or you've got a dental issue that needs attention, do what I do. Go to Malone and Costa Dentistry at Knoxville Smiles. You can schedule your appointment online right now at knoxvillesmiles.com or just give them a call at 865-539-1776 and tell them Fan Run Radio sent you.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing. If safe to do so, exhale slowly, leaning to one side. Inhale back to center. If safe to do so, exhale slowly to the opposite side. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. This message is brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Hungry for some mouth-watering barbecue? Then take the quick drive up I-75 to Rickard Ridge for some of the best barbecue you'll ever have. Fall off the bone, Memphis-style baby back ribs, slow-smoked chicken thighs, and fresh hand-cut steaks. Rickard Ridge has something for everyone. Located in Cove Lake State Park with a spectacular view of the Cumberland Mountains, Rickard Ridge. It's more than just dinner, it's a destination. Check out their full menu and catering options online at rickardridgebbq.com.
Hey Knoxville, Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Welcome back to Under Review. Bob Baskerville here with Sam Beard, continuing our conversation regarding Florida football as we spend this week descending on the most significant opponents in Tennessee's SEC schedule for this upcoming season. We spent a little time talking about Florida just on the periphery. Let's dig a little deeper into what's happening with the Gators at fall camp, kind of the narrative, the dynamics that are going on there, what to look out for. We're fortunate to be joined by a guy who does a great job covering Florida athletics for Swamp 247. He's been on our show before. We always enjoy the conversation. Let's welcome Graham Hall to the show. Graham, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Bob. Always a pleasure to be here and talk all things Gators, Tennessee, you name it, college football right around the corner, and I'm so excited for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's start, maybe I'll start kind of from a little bit of 30,000 foot view. And that is, give us a feel. We watched from last season. I think when we talked Florida football last season with you, it was kind of a situation. We focused a lot on the dynamic around Billy Napier and his job security, et cetera. And frankly, last season didn't start off great, but then Florida really rallied at the end. And I think it kind of, maybe it started when they played here in Knoxville against Tennessee, because that was a tough game, went to overtime. We argued that if Graham Mertz had finished that game, Florida probably would have won, because he was kind of nickel and dime Tennessee, but carving them up just the same. All that to say, the last part of last season, you guys built some momentum, and carrying it over to this season will be the big question. But do you feel at this point Billy Napier's status is, it certainly feels more secure, but is it one of those that if it gets off to a bad start, the conversations start all over again?
I do think that there's an absolute possibility that we're sitting here at the midpoint of the season, once again discussing Billy Napier's future in Gainesville. You look at the way the schedule starts out more favorably to Florida. They end the season last year win streak, and then this year they open an FCS team and take on USF, 2 games in Gainesville, where it would be a huge surprise if Florida's not sitting there at the SEC opener with a 6-game win streak dating back to last season. But then you look at the next 5 weeks, you got a bye week there as well. There's a realistic possibility where the Gators go 1-3, potentially 0-4 if you look at how daunting the opponents are on the schedule for Florida, they have to go to LSU on September 13th, then go down to Miami and take on the Hurricanes. A lot of uncertainty with how good Miami is going to be after losing Cam Ward, going to Carson Beck. Obviously, a lot of talent there at the Miami program, but you got to go down there and play them. And if they're anywhere near as good offensively as they were last season, you're going to be in a brutal game here in a sense where it could go either way. And then you have a bye week and then have to host the number one team in the AP preseason poll in the Texas Longhorns, led by Arch Manning this season. And then a week later, you go on the road to Texas A&M, which I think is one of the sleeper teams here in the SEC, just the talent that they have on defense heading into year two of the Mike Elko era. And I think Marcel Reed is one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC who doesn't seem to get the acclaim and hype that he deserves after he was really impressive last year to me. He came into Gainesville a season ago, had more than 250 yards between throwing and on the ground in his first ever start, and he leads the Aggies to a 33-20 victory over Florida a year ago. I mean, that slate right there is going to dictate the narrative surrounding Billy Napier. Now, I think that there's a lot of belief that Napier's done a really good job in terms of culture building, bringing in talent. You look at the recruiting classes that he's secured, obviously getting the top quarterback 2 years ago in Lagway, continuing to add talent to the team. They have promising freshmen on both sides of the ball, but the results are what's going to matter, right? If they end up going, like I said, even 2-2 in that stretch, and they're sitting at 4-2 at the midway point of the season, people are still going to be questioning this team's competitive nature. So it's once again going to be a conversation about, do you wait it out? Do you see if this team can overcome some of the hurdles? Because they have a lot of winnable games after that 4-game stretch I mentioned, taking on Mississippi State, taking on Kentucky. Then they got to go play Georgia, of course. And then you look there in November, having to take on, go to Ole Miss, take on Tennessee at the end of the season, and Florida State. I think that for Florida, if they can get out of that stretch, even with 2-2, 3-1 would be awesome for them. But that first 4-game stretch after the two opponents that I mentioned in LIU and USF, that's where we're really going to see what the narrative is surrounding Billy Napier in regards to him getting a 5th year in Gainesville or Florida maybe considering a coaching change. My gut tells me that if they go 2-2, that you're still going to see the support for Napier that you've seen from Florida's athletic department, the administration saying that let's see how this thing all plays out. We still have everything in front of us left to play for, but we have to show the mid-year improvements this season that we displayed a season ago, or else that seat's only going to get a little bit hotter.
How do you define success in 2025 for this Florida team? Because like you've laid out, difficult schedule again, obviously, but I'm sure Florida fans down there are kind of tired of giving out free passes for, average to mediocre seasons with how much talent is on that roster year in and year out.
I think you have to be in the college football playoff conversation when November arrives. I think that is what Florida fans are looking for. I hate to say it's college football playoff or bust, but you have to be a team that's in contention to make it. And if some things don't fall your way or you lose a game down the stretch and just narrowly miss out on the CFP, that's a little more understandable than not even having a chance, even if you go on a 4-game win streak to end the year. And that's going to be incredibly daunting to do because, like we've mentioned, you got to take on Ole Miss on the road, Tennessee, of course, in the SEC finale. You have to be in contention to make it because there's no excuses left for Billy Napier and co. I mean, it's entirely his roster pretty much outside from a handful of starters. He has depth. He has a quarterback who is regarded as a preseason Heisman Trophy finalist, potentially, if all goes according to plan, if he stays healthy. They have the most experienced offensive line in the SEC. They're loaded at the skill positions. You got a dynamic duo at running back in Jaden Baugh and Jacoby Jackson. You have really good tight ends. You've got key pieces on defense. I mean, there aren't that many questions regarding Florida's roster, at least in comparison to years past in the Napier era. So if they don't have the on-field results or they just are making some critical errors there, people are going to put that on the coaching staff at an even higher rate than a season ago because you still had some excuses. You had a freshman quarterback. You had injuries to your starter in Graham Mertz. You had multiple guys go down a season ago, and you still were able to finish on a high note. But if they fall short of 8 wins or 9 wins, people are going to be sitting here and saying, is it even worth going into another year of Napier, given how much Florida is going to lose on both sides of the ball, with 2 guys projected to be potential first-round draft picks, maybe even a third in Jake Slaughter, who could hear his name called in the first couple of rounds. You're going to have a lot of new players on the offensive line. It's going to be a huge question going into 2026 if they're going to have more talent around the quarterback than in this current year. So I think it's a fascinating situation because 8 wins, a lot of teams would take that with Florida's schedule, given that they have the number 2 strength of schedule behind Oklahoma heading into this year. But Florida fans are a little bit antsy, right? They want to be in the college football playoff conversation. They haven't got to the CFP yet since we went away from the BCS model. This feels like the year for Florida to do it under Napier. And if it doesn't happen, there's going to be a lot of people who are calling for a coaching change, even if, and this is an entirely different conversation, which we could talk about this a lot more if we had the time, do you risk parting ways with Billy Napier if it could lead to an exodus in the transfer portal? And I'm not just talking the talented freshmen such as Dallas Wilson and Jaden Woods, but what are the chances that if Billy Napier, who is so well liked by Florida's players, is out in Gainesville, that you could potentially lose a guy like Lagway? If you're a Florida fan, you have to weigh running it back with Billy Napier in 2026, even if you don't have the on-field results that you want in 2025, if it means losing Lagway for his junior season and beyond. That's a question that is going to be debated when you talk about a potential coaching change is, would you be willing to lose all the promising players rather than make some minuscule minor adjustments, such as maybe retooling the offensive coaching staff, giving play calling duties to a true coordinator to take some of the responsibility off of Napier's shoulders? That is going to be part of the conversation rather than just a will he or won't he return in 2026.
We're talking with Graham Hall from Swamp 247, previewing Florida football. Obviously, as I called him earlier, the perennial thorn in Tennessee's side. We can always count on it being just one hell of a matchup when these two teams play. It always works that way. Let's stick with Lagway for a second, because obviously the epicenter of the offense for Florida. Been hearing a few reports from afar that he's been a little banged up in camp, et cetera. Is that anything for us to be concerned about, or for Florida fans more specifically to be concerned about?
I do think it's worth being concerned about, because you look at just from a developmental standpoint, you have a guy who was really successful as a freshman, but as you mentioned in that Tennessee game, there are things he has to improve upon. He still had a penchant for undesirable decisions, had an interception about every 22 throws as a freshman, and you need to cut some of those things down because they can be backbreaking mistakes for a team like Florida that is going to face so many talented teams. One mistake can absolutely kill your competitive chances, and you would have liked, ideally, for Lagway to go through a full off season of taking reps, reading the defense, making better decisions, improving his timing and chemistry with his wide receivers, building a rapport with those guys. Even though so much of that is done off the field, it's nearly impossible to replicate practice and in-game reps. So that is a concern right there. And then you have the mobility concerns for him heading into the season. He dealt with a calf strain and is still kind of dealing with the lingering effects of it as he's recovered. That raised the question of how much are you going to use this guy's mobility? I mean, he's 246 pounds. He's hard to bring down, but he can make plays outside the pocket. He can turn nothing into something. And how much is Florida going to risk the possible injury or re-aggravation to him in using him in ways where he can be successful with his athleticism? That is certainly a question. But I think a lot of Florida fans would counter that with saying, look at last season. He has the grade 2 hamstring strain. He misses 6 quarters. He exits the Georgia game in the second quarter, misses the following week at Texas, but then he returns and helps lead Florida to a 4-game winning streak down the stretch, where the Gators weren't really using him as a runner, were determined to protect him and avoid him taking another lower body shot where he could be sidelined even longer. If they take the same plan, Florida's already shown that they can be successful with just using Lagway as a pocket passer. So that has been alleviated a good bit. There's also the concern of his shoulder. He's been dealing with lingering shoulder pain for more than a year. Go back to fall camp last year. The reps he took led him to be sore. He admitted it after the second week of the season. And it was something to watch throughout the past 8 months because it was the reason he was a modified participant in spring camp. Can you afford another hit to his shoulder? Could it lead to a longer lasting injury for him and force him to miss some game time? That is certainly a concern. So Florida fans are going to be wincing every hit that Lagway takes, and they're going to be asking for him to throw the ball away or just get down and maybe take a sack if it means saving him for another play and protecting him. That is going to be a part of the equation for Florida. But I think the promise of him outweighs the concerns. You have a guy who is explosive on deep throws. He has incredible arm strength. He's wise. He's someone the whole team rallies around, and that is going to outweigh the concerns until or if he goes down. So there is some, I think, hesitance when it comes to what are you going to see out of Lagway? Can he stay healthy for all 12 games? Can you protect him even with the most experienced offensive line in the SEC, if not the entire country around him? That is certainly a point of contention and a storyline to follow for the Florida Gators when the 2025 season opens.
13 starters coming back for this Florida team this year. That's top 10 in the country. A lot of guys that we're familiar with, but maybe who's a player on this Florida roster that you feel like is going to be kind of a breakout player that we're not so familiar with yet?
Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people outside Florida know Jaden Baugh just yet. He was incredibly successful as a freshman, but I think that most of the acclaim and regard for a freshman last season went to DJ Lagway. Jaden Baugh is going to be Florida's #1 back, and he is, according to everyone within the Florida building, the strongest pound-for-pound player on the team. So you think that he still has that wiggle, the ability to make guys miss in the open field, and then it's going to be incredibly tough to bring down as well, has improved as a pass catcher. I think he is going to be a guy who contends for being one of the top 5 rushers in the SEC, even though there are some teams, Texas A&M, Texas, that have backs who are probably going to have more opportunities to be successful, given that Florida is going to take a by-committee approach. I think Dallas Wilson is also a guy that you're going to see as an impactful freshman for Florida, a guy who was a top 50 prospect a year ago, initially signs with Oregon, gets asked out of his signed financial aid affidavit, comes to Gainesville, and was just an impact player from the jump since arriving 8 months ago. He broke spring game records in the orange and blue game with 10 catches for 195 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's continued to impress, but he's been dealing with a lower body injury. He's been in a cast for nearly 2 weeks now. So you think that he's still going to have to work his way back and could miss maybe the first or the second game. The hope for him is that he's back by LSU on September 13th. He's a guy that I think is going to be a starter when he is fully healthy within Florida's offense, and you could see him being one of the top first-year pass catchers in the SEC, if not the entire nation. And then another one I think that maybe is the most impressive freshman in a position to play from the jump is Jaden Woods, a guy from Kansas who came in and broke multiple weight room records for Florida, has an incredible quick first step, and you don't often see first-year players contribute at a high rate on the defensive front as edge rushers, defensive ends. But Jaden Woods has done everything he can to put himself in a position to be able to play significant snaps from the jump, despite Florida having a lot of talent returning in that edge room. They get Tyreek Sapp back, who was Florida's leading sack leader a year ago, also led the team in tackles for loss. You have George Gumbs Jr., who was kind of a revelation after coming over from Northern Illinois, a guy who was a former wide receiver, turned tight end, turned defensive end, and he was incredibly effective last year. He's going to be Florida's starting jack linebacker at that other edge spot. And then you have Jalen Wiggins, Kofi Asari, Cam James. I mean, that's a deep room for Florida, but you could see a freshman in Jaden Woods be an impact player, and I would not be surprised to see him be all SEC freshman by season end and have an impactful first season at Florida. The Gators feel really good about several of their first-year guys, and they also have talent around them. Second-year guys like Miles Graham, Aaron Childs, Jaden Robinson at linebacker. Big shoes to fill, losing Shamar James, one of the Florida's leading tacklers for the last couple of years. But everything we've heard is that these young guys in Childs and Graham have really set themselves up to be dynamic players within that front seven for Florida in 2025.
So looking at this from afar, this is a good tee up to a question I had, because you're right. It feels like we talked about it earlier in the show there. The defensive front for Florida looks very, very stout and didn't even factor in some of the younger guys you just mentioned. And then the linebacking core is strong too. Would it be safe to say, because you had some attrition in the defensive backfield. Is that probably the weakest link to the defense going into this season?
I think you could make a case for it. I think that they would like to have a little more depth at cornerback. You get Devin Moore back, who was one of Florida's top cornerbacks for the last 2 seasons, but health has been a concern for him. He's played 6 and 7 games in back-to-back years, but when he's been on the field, he's been effective. Cormani McClain is a guy who's poised to step into a starting role for the first time at Florida, but first-year starter, what can you expect out of him? He's going to make some mistakes. He's going to be really impressive at times too, but you're going to still need, I think, a little more consistent play there. And Dijon Johnson is the guy who Florida relied on as a starter down the stretch last season. But like Lagway, he's missed much of 2025. He missed a lot of spring camp. He missed, I think, 7 or 8 practices in fall camp as he dealt with a lower body injury. That's a guy that you can rely on. But after them, you're looking at some freshmen. So that cornerback spot is a question for Florida. You know, you brought up the front 7, and I do think it's really impressive for the Gators. But there's also a question mark there at nose tackle because you lose Cam Jackson, who goes to the Carolina Panthers in the NFL draft. You lose Desmond Watson, who signs with the Tampa Bay Bucks. You've lost several players there, and now you turn to a sophomore in Mekhi Barrow, who had an impressive year, has lost nearly, 40 pounds of fat and really transformed his body in the past 18 months. And then alongside him, who I think is projected to start at nose tackle, is Jamari Lyons, who a year ago suffered a compound fracture in his ankle, an injury that was really difficult to come back from, was poised for a big year in 2024, but a guy who's working his way back, maybe needs to shake a little bit of rust off and prove that he can be a guy in the middle of the line for Florida. That's probably the biggest question there in the front 7. And then at cornerback, I think that is certainly a question. You could even throw Starr into the mix as well because they lost Aaron Gates last year to a torn ACL against Ole Miss, and he's also been modified in practice as he works his way back. Sharif Denson will start there, but that's a position that you're going to need to consistently rotate at, and the Gators are going to have to rely on Gates and Denson, along with some of the other guys. Lagonza Hayward, Josiah Davis are going to be asked to play reps there at a higher rate this season. Safety is probably the one where that's most solidified in the secondary for Florida because they returned their 2 starters from last season in Jordan Castell and Bryce Thornton. Castell has been a surefire playmaker since he's been in Gainesville. He started all but 1 game over the last 2 years at Florida, now a junior here. And Bryce Thornton was just a ball hawk for the Gators last year, picked off Jackson Dart twice in that upset over Ole Miss there at the end of the season. Those 2 guys right there give you a solidified pairing at safety, but depth is obviously a key, and you're going to need to rely on some incoming transfers like Michael Caraway Jr. and some of the freshmen like Drake Stubbs to be able to give you the depth that is needed to compete in this league on a weekly basis because it's a brutal sport. It's a gladiator sport, like coaches say, and you're going to have guys go down, and it's all about, I hate to use a cliche here, it's often going to be about who's the next man up.
I want to give you 3 tough SEC road games for Florida this year, and you rank them most likely to least likely for this Florida team to go out there and win on the road this year. At LSU, Texas A&M, and then Ole Miss.
I think most likely is Ole Miss. I think that it's going to be interesting to see how this Rebels team looks because they lose so many playmakers from last year's team on both sides of the ball. Obviously, they have Centurine Perkins back, who was one of the top defensive players in the SEC last year. But that was a team that led the league in sacks. Are they going to be able to do that a season later? That's a big question for me. And the Gators got the win over a more talented Ole Miss team a year ago. Yeah, you got to go on the road, play in Oxford, but if Florida shows the late season positive strides that we saw last year, then you would think that Florida is going to have a good chance in that game. I think that Texas A&M is another one where, given some of the talent that the Aggies lost and given some of the issues that they've dealt with in the offseason, how good are they going to be at that point in the season? And Florida is certainly familiar with that team and looking for a little bit of revenge, with coaches who used to be at Florida now with the Aggies and several players that the Gators are knowledgeable of who have left from the transfer portal, and also Florida looking for a little bit of revenge after last season's game. That's going to be a big one for me as well. LSU is probably the most daunting road game for Florida because you have that noticeable decrease in competition the first 2 weeks of the season, playing Long Island, playing USF, and then going to Baton Rouge and playing in Tiger Stadium for your first road game, a night game against a team with the most productive quarterback from a year ago, the number one transfer class in the portal from a season ago. I mean, that is just a tough game for Florida. I've said before that, there's no consolation prizes, no moral victories in this sport, but Florida has to be competitive in that game. You can lose on the road to a top 10 LSU team by a touchdown, but you have to be in it to the end. You can't come out there and lose, 41-17 like Florida lost to Miami a year ago. You have to be competitive in that one because that could have some lingering effects after the game if Florida comes out and lays a dud, because there's been so much positivity for the last 10 months in Gainesville about the strides they've made, the winning streak they're probably riding heading in that game. That could all evaporate, and we could be right back to the hot seat conversation. Is Florida a pretender or a contender? All these narratives if the Gators go into LSU on September 13th and lay a dud, and that's probably the most difficult road game on the slate. So that's the one that I've got circled in Sharpie in terms of we'll know a lot more about this team. We'll also know a lot more about LSU. I think there's still a lot of people out there who are waiting to crown LSU as a true top 10 team. They want to see if Brian Kelly can put it all together. Kind of like Billy Napier, if this is his best chance to do it with a returning starting quarterback, so much talent that they've added to that team, guys who are veterans and new additions from a year ago. This is the year for both those programs, and we're going to have a lot of hot takes flying after that game regarding both teams. Unless both teams come out and look really, really competitive, we're going to come at it and being like, okay, both LSU and Florida are legit. They just ran into each other at this point in the season. Let's see how it all shakes out. That's going to be a big tell game otherwise for both of those teams.
Graham, this was great. As always, really appreciate you hopping on and enlightening us more on Florida as we don't play you guys till November, but still that one's always going to loom large no matter what time of year we play. So really appreciate you breaking it down for us. Let the listener know where they can check your work out if they want to learn more about Florida football.
Hey, I always appreciate you having me. It's a great conversation. I can't wait for Florida, Tennessee in November, because maybe that game, hopefully that game has more impact upon each team making the college football playoff. It's always a little bit disheartening when they play in September and then you got to be like, all right, we'll see how the rest of the season shakes out. That could be a big rivalry game that has impact on the postseason. So I'm looking forward to that. You can read all my stuff at swamp247.com. Follow me on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at Graham Hall. We got a podcast, preseason content, depth charts, everything you want. Join our community. We're the largest message board community covering the Florida Gators. And we got to do this a little bit sooner here when we know a little bit more about both these teams before the Florida-Tennessee matchup in November.
Hell yeah, absolutely. Let's plan on it. Again, appreciate you hopping on. I hope you have a great rest of the week, and good luck to you guys in this upcoming season up until November. Then we have to be kind of frenemies for a little bit.
Appreciate it. You guys enjoy the college football season. I'm glad it's here. Y'all take care.
You too, Graham, too.
Thanks, Graham. Quick timeout. When we come back, we just talked about Florida's schedule. USA Today put out their most recent ranking of the 10 toughest college football schedules in this upcoming season. A lot of Tennessee opponents in there. We'll talk about it when we return. Stick around. We'll be right back. It's Under Review, and you're listening to Fan Run Radio.
Streaming worldwide at fanrunradio.com and on the free Fan Run app. This is Big Orange Country's sports talk radio superstation, Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Have you ever found yourself wishing your clothes looked brand new again? Whether it's your favorite suit, that little black dress, or your comfy winter coat, Crown Cleaners can make it happen. From stubborn stains to delicate fabrics, the expert team at Crown Cleaners uses the latest cleaning technology to ensure your clothes come back looking and feeling fresh. Visit one of their 2 area locations, Kingston Pike on Bearden Hill or South North Shore Drive near Dunkin' Donuts. Online at crowncleaners.com. Crown Cleaners, a tradition of excellence.
Hello, is Tina there?
Who's this?
Yeah, this is Vince from the hit reality show Wives Don't Tell. Tina applied for our show to confess that her husband won't go to the doctor to get his erectile dysfunction checked. She said she's ready for a guy that can bring the heat.
All right, what the hell is going on? You know you're talking to her husband right now? Tina!
Well, she wrote the application that her man's performance is questionable. She's basically married to a coffee table. She also said we live within driving distance to Men's Pro Knoxville, but he's too scared to get a blood test.
Oh my, she is done. She is so done.
Got you, Mike. It's nephew Tommy. Ain't no reality show. It's a prank. Men's Pro Knoxville is the real deal, fellas. Local experts, test results in minutes. Call 865-544-8220 or hit menspronknoxville.com before your lady books a new co-star. Men's Pro Knoxville, making it happen.
Hi, I'm Bo Cregner with the Cregner Group at Realty Executives. You know, the real estate market, like all other markets impacted by the economy, is changing all the time. And it's never been more important to be personally represented by a trusted real estate specialist. I can't emphasize enough how important it is when selling or buying to be individually represented. Call me today for a free consultation. My number is 865-742-1035, and my website is bonowshouses.com.
Hey, football fans, this is Stats.
And this is the Sheik, and together we are the Cover Boys, and we cover college football like no one else.
Each week, we preview all the big games in college football, and we may not tell you who's going to win, but we'll tell you who's going to cover.
Our patented right sides are clicking at 66% against the spread all time.
So join us right here every Friday evening at 8 for the Cover Boys on the official voice of Tennessee fans, Fan Run Radio.
And enjoy the winners, everyone.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. Final segment, hour 2. So we spent time talking about Florida. It's kind of fitting. USA Today released yesterday their top 10 list of the toughest schedules in college football this upcoming season. The 10 teams with the toughest regular season schedules. And we've covered a lot of these teams when we've been doing our conference previews, et cetera, but it's good to kind of revisit it now as we're closing in on the regular season, because most notably what we're going to see is how many teams are in this top 10 that are opponents of Tennessee. Stands to reason, right? It's SEC teams. Makes sense. Top of the list, and we've talked about this before, but the Wisconsin Badgers. And this comes at a time where Luke Fickell really is kind of in a show me stage with the Wisconsin administration, the fan base, you name it. Wisconsin's used to winning games. They haven't been doing much of that lately, Sam. And they have a very tough schedule in conference, most notably Ohio State, Michigan, Illinois, Oregon, and Indiana. They have 10 games against P4 opponents, basically. So if you include their non-conference game against Alabama, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, they have a loaded schedule. It's tough for me to see a way forward for them that's past like 6 wins, honestly, which, again, the natives will be restless with Luke Fickell.
Hate to see it for the Badgers.
Yeah,
exactly. Hate to see it for the Badgers. Don't care, Luke Fickell. Go get a job with your buddy Mike Vrabel up in New England.
Number 2, the team we've been talking about this hour, Florida. And we don't need to tear that apart too much more. We've already done it. I mean, at LSU, at A&M, at Ole Miss, potentially tough game at Miami. And then you got Texas at home, Tennessee at home, Georgia neutral site. Again, poor Billy Napier, because you heard it from Graham Hall. I think the expectation is they want to be in the college football conversation, college football playoff conversation. I just don't know how that happens here, man.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I think that's him saying that, he feels like they need to be in the square in the mix of the playoff conversation kind of by what, November, he said. So, I mean, there, before you even get to November, you play A&M on the road, you play Texas at home, you play Miami, you play LSU on the road. Like, there's 4 or 5 really tough games before you even get to November there. I don't know if you're going to be in the mix for the college football playoff by the time you get there.
Yeah. Number 3, Mississippi State, another Tennessee opponent. I mean, they play Georgia, they play us, they play Texas. It's pretty tough. 6 of their 8 conference games come against opponents ranked in the preseason coaches poll. Tough road for Jeff Lebby, and a non-conference game against Arizona State, which is potentially a hard one too. Number 4, Arkansas, another Tennessee opponent. We just talked about this yesterday with Andrew Ellis. Texas, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Notre Dame. Tough road for the Razorbacks. Number 5, wow, pattern here. The Syracuse Orangemen, Sam, number 5. They play Notre Dame, they play Tennessee, they play Clemson. Then, of course, SMU and Miami in conference as well. Tennessee better take care of business there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think you'll see it.
Number 6, LSU opens up with a tough one right off the bat, obviously, at Clemson, and then Florida, Ole Miss, Alabama. Tough road. Number 7, Stanford. Andrew Luck, Frank Reich. What are you guys going to do here? They
lose.
Yeah. They've got SMU and Miami in the ACC. They're playing week 0, by the way, this weekend against Hawaii.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah. We'll be watching. And then games against BYU and Notre Dame. I mean, Stanford's not very good to begin with. This is a hard road for them. Number 8, UCLA Bruins. How you doing, Nico? Penn State, Indiana, Ohio State, also opening up against Utah, Washington, USC. Doesn't look like an easy path at all for Nico and the boys.
What do you mean, Bob? He's a master of the deep ball.
Sure he is.
It's been dazzling out there.
Dazzling.
Did you see that?
What?
UCLA's description of him on their website?
I did see that, yeah.
Master of the deep ball.
Mm-hmm.
Ranked 2nd in the SEC with 650-plus yard completions. I mean, holy cherry-picked stat. About 20 more that could have gone that you overthrew, Nico, and about, probably 4 of those 6 that you completed were 10 to 15 yards in the air. That's a Dante Thornton stat. That's not a Nico Iamaleava stat.
Love the pajama pants, man.
His dad probably wrote that bio.
Yeah, no doubt. Wrapping up the top 10 as we wrap up the hour. Number 9, Ohio State. They obviously open with a biggie against Texas, and then they've got Illinois, Michigan, and Penn State in conference. They'll be fine. And then number 10, no SEC team, South Carolina. They have Clemson in the non-con at the end of the season, but then also Alabama, LSU, and Ole Miss. And I'm going to tell you, I'm glad we're not playing at South Carolina. I've been saying that for about a year now. Glad they're not on our schedule. Still triggered from the 2022 game.
Tough place to go play too.
Yeah.
They get rowdy over there.
Sure do. All right, that wraps up hour 2. Let's hit a break. When we return, we have midday headlines. Sam has you covered there. We have Jake Crain joining us in hour 2 or 3 rather as well. And then we got some not for nothing to wrap up the show. Big hour coming up. Stick around. It's Under Review on Fan Run Radio.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
We really need to get some branded stuff. Shirts, hats, promo items, something professional.
I mean, we could just find a website and order a bunch of it ourselves.
You could, but you're taking a big risk. You don't know the quality, the fit, the timeline. It's a roll of the dice.
Yeah, I guess. But isn't that how everyone does it now?
Not the ones who actually care about how their brand looks. Look, if we're putting our name on it, it needs to be done right. We need SM Athletics.
SM Athletics?
Yeah, they specialize in working with businesses like ours. Apparel, hats, promo gear, but real, customized stuff. They actually care if it turns out right.
Probably a lot better than getting stuck with 100 t-shirts with crooked logos.
Exactly. Plus, they'll walk you through everything. Sizing, colors, material. so it matches the image we're trying to build.
Makes sense. What's the name again?
SM Athletics. Trust me, if you want to look like a real company, not a flea market stand, this is the move. If you're serious about your brand, work with people who are serious about getting it right. SM Athletics.
Got a problem tree looming over your home? Call ECR Total Landscapes. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, our certified pros get the job done safely and efficiently. We're licensed, insured, and ready 24/7 for emergency calls. Big or small, we cut them all. ECR Total Landscapes. Call now for a free estimate, 865-384-2012, and mention promo code FANRUN for free stump grinding on any tree removal now through the end of the year. Also, visit us at ecrtotallandscapes.com.
Believe in family. Believe in your fellow man. Believe in honesty and an honest day's work. We do. We're Farm Bureau Insurance. And we don't just believe in Tennessee. We believe in Tennesseans. Farm Bureau Insurance. Tennessee's insurance company.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance for Tennesseans. Believe in me for all of your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871.
Whether you are buying or selling a home or even looking for some land to build on and start a family, be sure to give Reed Emerson with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Heritage Group a shout. He is a longtime listener and supporter of Fan Run and has been serving the Mid-State for many years. Reed prides himself on his hassle-free and honest approach, and that's because he's not just chasing another commission. He wants what is best for his clients. Give Reed Emerson a call or text him today to get the process started. His number is 931-492-0418, or you can find him online at bhgheritagegroup.com.
Hour 3 of Under Review starts now.
Welcome back to the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios of Fox Sports Knoxville, Fan Run Radio. It's Under Review. Got the boys here. Bob, that's me, and Sam, that's him, and Brett and Jake also here too, and you. We always appreciate you listening to us, giving us a listen, giving us a watch if you're checking us out on Fan Run TV. Appreciate it all. You can be a part of the program on a live basis. Call or text us at area code 865-966-3435. That's 966-3435. You can also interact with us on X at Fox Sports Knox. Real quickly, we've been talking about how excited we are about football, but what's football without being able to get into some games, whether it's fantasy football or pools or, well, Fan Run Radio is doing a football pick'em. Don't know if you have heard this, but we're going to tell you about it very quickly. The Fan Run 2025 College Football Pick'em, done in conjunction with ESPN and presented by SM Athletics, is happening. You can be a part of it too. There's a cash prize. SM Athletics will be giving a $500 award to the winner. Got to hop in if you're interested. The group is called Fan Run 2025. Fan Run is in all caps. Fan Run 2025, and then the password is Fan Run, all caps, Fan Run. Now, this is a confidence pool. You pick 10 games per week, rank them in terms of your confidence in the pick. 1 point to the one you're least confident in, 10 to the one you're most confident in, and so on. Fun little way to stay involved, have a little skin in the game, participate with the gang, participate with some of the listeners. And again, there'll be a $500 award to the winner, a prize, completely free for you to join. So go check it out. Again, this is at ESPN.com. The group is called Fan Run 2025. This is in their college pick'em category. Time to get to some midday headlines. Other things going on in the world of sports besides just Tennessee football. And for that, I turn things over to Sam Beard.
Started the show with it. Bears repeating. Preseason coaches, all SEC teams are out. Jermod McCoy finds himself onto the first team. 5 other Tennessee Vols find themselves on these teams as well. On the third team, you've got Miles Kitzelman, Lance Hurd on the offensive side of the ball, and then Boo Carter, Arian Carter, I'm sorry, Chris Brazell also on the offensive side of the ball. Kitzelman, Brazel, and Lance Hurd, those offensive players on the third team, and then Boo Carter and Arian Carter getting third team all SEC honors. Any one of those guys on that list that you think find themselves higher, or maybe some guys aren't on the list that you expect to see on that list postseason?
Yeah, we've spent so much time talking about what Boo Carter may not be allowed to do. But I don't know. It sounds like Josh is saying good things about him in practice, etc. Guy's got talent, man. I could see him ascending if he gets the right amount of opportunities. I think that's what'll tell the tale. And maybe some of those defensive guys, like we were saying earlier in the show, too. Arian Carter, maybe Bryson Eason. He's not on there now, but he could be by the end of it all.
I'm going to call my shot.
Call it.
Lance Hurd is a first-team All-SEC player by the end of the year.
God, that'd be big, right? After last year.
I'm drinking the off-season Kool-Aid on Lance Hurd. Seems like there's been a lot of changes physically for him, getting in much better shape, healthy, a leader in that room. Played solid for you down the stretch last year. I got high hopes for him. Notre Dame has named a starting quarterback for their week 1 matchup against Miami. CJ Carr has won the job. The redshirt freshman beat out Kenny Minchey for the starting position. Marcus Freeman said that in the spring, Carr and Minchey would battle for that starting spot, but Carr comes out on the right end of it for him. Highly ranked recruit. Sat behind Riley Leonard and Steve Angeli on that depth chart last season. As we all know, Steve Angeli will be the opponent for Tennessee in week 1 as he's transferred to Syracuse. But CJ Carr, the number 68 overall player, number 6 ranked quarterback in that 2024 cycle, he is handed the keys to this Notre Dame team who had a very, very successful season last year. Making a run all the way to the national championship game, 14-2 overall record. You've got the best running back in the country returning in Jeremiah Love. I'm very interested in Notre Dame this season. I feel like, we kind of saw that ceiling that they hit. Can Marcus Freeman and company kind of continue to get them back into that position year in, year out now?
I'm going to say it. I found myself kind of liking Notre Dame's squad last season in the playoffs, particularly once they took Georgia out. I was like, I think I'm getting behind these guys, and that's saying a lot because tough to be any person that roots for Notre Dame around these parts. But
very true.
But they're an interesting team, like you said. I will be interested to see what they've still got a lot of talent. If Carr can be somewhat productive, they could be trouble again.
Tough news in the W. Indiana Fever guard Sophie Cunningham will miss the remainder of the 2025 season with a right knee injury. The team has announced that she has torn her MCL, so got hurt in Sunday's win over the Connecticut Sun. Significant blow to them, though, as the team is already without Ari McDonald and Sydney Colson for the rest of the year. Now you've got Sophie Cunningham gone, Caitlin Clark gone. Not really things aren't looking too good over there for the Fever, it seems like. Watch out, Caitlin Clark. Your bodyguard is no longer there. Watch your back.
Yeah, they're I was explaining this to my wife last night because she's become a fan, and she was like, are they even going to make the playoffs? I go, they might not, and people need to understand why. It's like they're still a good team, but they're beyond just banged up now. I mean, they've lost critical players. Don't know if Caitlin's coming back. Sophie had kind of filled the gap a little bit pretty well, honestly. She'd been shooting well, scoring double figures, but yeah, it's kind of a mess there. They still have Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston. They got players, but I don't know if it'll be enough at this point. They might make it into the playoffs, but I wouldn't see them go very far. That's your WNBA report.
Caitlin Clark overrated.
You've been listening to John Reed, man.
Availability is your best ability, Bob.
Yeah, this is
short season. You can't be missing games.
This is tough, man. It's a lot.
I thought we got in the weight room in the off season to not have these things happen.
Yeah, and it's all these soft tissue injuries, right? It's not like joints or anything that require surgery. So you just have to sit and do the waiting game. It's getting pretty agonizing. I would assume for Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever fans, pretty tough.
Titans fans have been sitting and waiting. L'Jarius Sneed has finally passed his physical, and the Titans have removed him from the PUP list, physically unable to perform. So in time for Wednesday for him to start practicing, two-time Super Bowl champ with the Chiefs, was signed to a big deal with the Titans back in 2024, appeared just in 5 games and wound up on injured reserves with a bruised quad and just somehow the biggest bruise in the world because he has just done nothing ever since then. Team officials said that he had a cleanup of his knee back in May. Was just getting a lot of mixed signals from Titans coaching staff whenever they talk about L'Jarius Sneed and say, yeah, he's attacking the offseason well. We're confident in him coming back at some point, but you just never really knew when that was going to be. I still think it's going to be a pretty slow ramp up for Sneed as he hasn't practiced in any capacity in a very long time. So I'm sure they will ease him back into, the off-season regiments and off-season workouts and stuff like that. But comes off the PUP list. Good news at the very least that you can start to get him a little bit more acclimated into some training camp. Would doubt to see him in the finale of the preseason, but definitely gets you feeling a little bit better about maybe some of that depth in the secondary where you got Jarvis Brownlee and Roger McCreary already doing pretty good. But the 2 guys that were on the PUP list for the Titans, definitely big pieces. L'Jarius Sneed and Lloyd Cushenberry both off of that now. Needle mover at all, Bob? Nothing?
No, because it just makes me think about my team, how disappointed I am in them.
Daniel Jones is your starting quarterback. By we'll go some NFL injuries as well. Keep it within the league. Bucs head coach Todd Bowles said that Jalen McMillan suffered a severely strained neck and will miss some time, including the start of the season. Currently in a neck brace. I believe I saw that the plan might be to they said that he could be sidelined through week 9, their bye week, with his neck injury. Their plan appears to be placing him on IR after rosters are set. So not putting him on the season-ending IR just yet, but going through roster cuts, putting him on IR, giving him a chance to return later in the year. But not great news over there in Tampa Bay is Jalen McMillan, one of those young wide receivers for them. Chris Godwin apparently had some ankle surgery this offseason, and he hasn't even started jogging on the field yet. So you've got an old Mike Evans, and you've got Emeka Egbuka pretty much. So I'd be buying some Egbuka stock if I were someone in a keeper league or a dynasty league, or honestly just even in your own run-of-the-mill 1-year fantasy league. I think Egbuka is probably going to be a pretty safe bet this year.
Mark's notes down. I have a draft tonight.
I think they also drafted a kid from Oregon, Tez Johnson, as well.
He's like $140. He'll probably be snapped in half by week 5.
He's just, I don't know. He's second on the depth chart. So I was just looking at their depth chart.
That's tough if he's already second on their depth chart.
Yeah.
I had one of the teams in our league. You could keep up to 3 players from your existing roster going into next season. And again, salary-based league. So these were all guys with low salaries. He kept Bucky Irving, which was probably a good move. And then he kept 2 receivers. And the 2 receivers he kept, again, they were very cheap salaries. That was the motivation. Jordan Addison and Chris Godwin. Yeah, I mean, neither of them are going to be
interesting
playing.
Strategy.
Yeah, I mean, Addison is what? Do we know how many games he's suspended for?
3.
3, yeah.
So that's, and Godwin maybe is back after 2 or 3 weeks, maybe.
Well, if he's not even jogging,
Actually, he's on the pup list.
Yeah, you
He's
got
on
to
the
miss
pup
the
list.
first 4 if you're on the pup
Yeah,
list.
so you're going to miss first 4. So, yeah, I guess he just wanted to have draft capital in terms of dollars for tonight. But still, it's weird. Those are guys that can't help you at all for a while.
Can't help the club in the tub.
Nope.
Texas Tech standout running back Quentin Joyner suffered a season-ending knee injury with a torn ACL. Big blow for Texas Tech, as Joyner was one of the top-ranked portal running backs this year, coming over from USC, ran for 478 yards last season. Definitely was a guy that was poised to kind of take that next step for them. So he will be missing the 2025 season for the Red Raiders. Cody Campbell's calling the NCAA offices, trying to see if it's legal for him to pay $30 million to some emergency running back now to try and make sure that they get back into the fold. But tough blow for Texas Tech. We'll see. That is one team I am super intrigued with this year. I will be having a close eye on Texas Tech this year and just seeing if they can buy their way into a college football playoff appearance over there in the Big 12 potentially.
It's going to make me mad if they do, but it's very possible. Very possible. They got a lot of money.
One of the great names in college basketball, Bob, gone. Dismissed from the program. Cincinnati guard Jizzle James has been dismissed, according to head coach Wes Miller. Cited personal issues coming off of his second season at Cincinnati, his first in a starting role. Averaged about 13 points a game, 3 rebounds, 3.5 assists as a sophomore after being a key contributor as a freshman. Said that Wes Miller said he wouldn't have any further comments since it relates to a personal situation, but he's been dealing with these issues throughout the summer. Removed him from the team last month. He is not currently a member of our basketball program. As this is a personal matter, I will have no further comments at this time. Was definitely a highly ranked guy. Number 72 overall player in the 2023 cycle. Was the number 7 ranked player from the state of Florida. Things haven't been going great over there for Wes Miller either at Cincinnati. He was a guy that was a very hot name in the coaching market. Like I remember he was getting thrown out there for the North Carolina job before Hubert Davis got that one. And Wes Miller then takes the Cincinnati job, and it just hasn't exactly gone to plan. 19-16 they finished last year, just 7-13 in Big 12 play. Hurts now to not have Jizzle James in the program, and just great name to be able to say when you're watching college basketball.
Jizzle's dad, Edrin.
Is it really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yep. He's gonna kick his ass.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
A little bit more college basketball news. Peyton Siva has been promoted to an assistant coach role under Pat Kelsey at Louisville.
Yeah.
Was a star on the 2013 national championship team for them. I had no idea that he was even coaching with Louisville.
I didn't either. I remember him as a player, but
great player.
Yeah.
Great player.
He was solid.
I guess vacated national championship team, I should say. Anyone can go claim that one.
Auburn.
If you're Auburn, yeah.
Auburn tried to get it.
Mm-hmm. Kingsford is launching partnerships with schools all around the country. Tennessee Vols, one of those teams, as they announced partnerships. Negotiated with Learfield, the agreement includes NIL deals with athletes at the following schools: Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Michigan, Missouri, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Texas. So Kingsford, if you need some charcoal for the grill, better go buy some Kingsford if you're a Tennessee fan.
That's good tailgate.
Support the people that support you.
A lot of SEC in there.
A lot of SEC in there.
Oh yeah.
A lot of SEC in there. Jordan Schultz reporting that the Bills are expected to host wide receiver Gabe Davis on a free agent visit this week after he meets with the Steelers. Had his best years in Buffalo, totaled over 3,200 yards and 35 touchdowns across 4 seasons, including the playoffs over there. So hasn't exactly landed on his feet kind of ever since exiting from Buffalo, but you've seen Tre'Davious White come back to the Bills. Maybe you see Gabe Davis back there, and you get one more deep threat and one more weapon for Josh Allen to kind of play with ahead of the season. I feel like this is a move that, for the right price, I'd go make it if I'm the Bills. I feel like you're always kind of talking at the end of the season about how Josh Allen doesn't exactly have enough help around him and stuff like that. Give him a little bit more of a, emergency plan, break glass in case of emergency. You got Gabe Davis on your side.
Good memories there with Gabe Davis.
Last one, Ted Scott back on the bag for Scotty Scheffler this week. So
there you go.
Who was Scotty's caddy in that final round?
I don't know, but he made a lot of money.
Like a kid just off the.
Made a lot of money.
Why don't you just come carry my bag? I'll handle the rest.
I think I saw that he made $360,000.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Danny White just tweeted out season tickets for basketball sold out.
3rd year in a row. Yep.
4%. 10%. Sorry.
I was gonna say felt like more for basketball.
Yeah.
But,
that's what. Yeah.
All right, Sam. Good batch of headlines. Let's hit a break. When we return, we'll be joined by Jake Crain of Crain and Company. Get his take on college football as we wind down, get ready for the games, get his take on the Big Ten and their madness with the playoff proposition, all that stuff coming up. Stick around. Be right back. It's Under Review on Fan Run Radio.
The flagship station for Tennessee fans. This is Fan Run Radio.
In a world filled with deadlines and screens, sometimes we forget the simple joys of life, days filled with special moments. At Inward Half, we understand the essence of these moments. Feel the difference between our breathable fabrics and flexible apparel as you disconnect from the hustle and bustle and reconnect with what truly matters. Inward Half. Simple luxury for on and off the course.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
Citizens National Bank. There are always memories to be made with family and friends, and we want you to share your memories with us. Share your best photos depicting your memorable experiences throughout the year, and your photo could be chosen to be in our 2019 Memories Calendar. Simply upload your photo to CMB's Facebook page's photo contest application or deliver it to any branch. Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good. Visit cmbtn.com for official contest rules.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career.
Hey Knoxville, Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka. Sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka. Sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
In the Smoky Mountain Sun, WKTN. In the Smoky Mountain Sun. In the Smoky Mountain Sun.
Welcome back. Under Review carries on here on a Wednesday. Bob and Sam here. Let's talk a little college football. We've been talking it all show long, and why not? It's really upon us, and it feels great. Let's get another perspective on someone who is doing a fantastic job as usual. He and his boys are previewing college football teams and games left and right. They do it on the show Crain and Company, which is a great one to watch and check out on YouTube. And we're fortunate to have him join us every week on Wednesdays. It's Jake Crain. Jake, thanks for hopping on. How you been, man?
Oh, man, fantastic. I mean, it's here. You know, this is almost like the worst week because you got kickoff coming on Saturday, but we're at Wednesday. We're almost halfway through it, and man, I'm fired up like everybody else is.
You're right. This feels like, I keep saying this time's kind of the worst time of year as we're getting closer and closer, and it feels like each week it becomes the newest worst week, and we're kind of there. But like you said, if we can just suck it up for a few more days, it's going to dominate our lives for months on end, and feels good. I'm going to start, though, before we might focus on some teams and everything, but let's talk about the one thing that kind of entered the sports news cycle at the beginning of the week. I wanted to get your take on this, and that is the Big Ten, which I swear it feels like the Big Ten is trying their hardest to not just homogenize college football, but potentially ruin it. I mean, it's like, just can we stick to this modified 12-team playoff format, at least for the moment? I mean, I know that there's a lot of talk going on about scheduling at the SEC level right now. That's happening as we speak. And we know how Sankey feels about it. So that might enable us expanding to a 16-team playoff field somewhere down the line. But this notion of 24, 28 teams, I mean, come on, man. I mean, what's your take on this?
Well, look, personally, I think that's obviously a bridge too far. You want to talk about really watering down the regular season. That would really do damage, I think, to the regular season, because I think they would cut games out of the regular season. Because you can, on one hand, advocate for player safety and then add 5 games to everybody's schedule. But I do understand, as a commissioner of the conference, your goal is to try and get as many of your teams in the college football playoff as possible. And that's what he's doing. And I understand that. Everybody else, the same reason why the Big 12 would probably be a fan of it at the end of the day. They want more representation in the college football playoff, which means brands rise up, which means more money. I get the play. But from the outside, because I'm not a commissioner of a league, I don't think it's good overall for the health of the sport. But his job isn't to worry about the health of the sport. It's to worry about the health of the Big Ten. So I understand it.
Jake, I want to get into your SEC conference predictions that you put out, because I would honestly agree with a lot of them. I'm pretty simpatico on most of the teams that you've got there. We've been covering Florida pretty heavily today. I do want you to kind of explain Florida being at that 9-3 threshold, because I do think it's very interesting. I don't think Billy Napier has too long of a leash this year, and I think Florida fans will get pretty restless with another 7 or 8 win season, but you've kind of got them at that 9-win threshold. Walk us through that one.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, this is obviously assuming that DJ Lagway stays healthy, but I mean, that's for every team in the country. Your starting quarterback needs to stay healthy. That's obvious. Everybody knows that. But when I look at this Florida team, what's the most attractive to me is how much better they're going to be on both sides of the line of scrimmage, especially in the front 7 on defense. And when you have that type of ability and you have that type of depth, it gives a chance for those stars on the outside, the Eugene Wilsons, the Dallas Wilsons, the Jaden Bott running back, to be able to really play to their strengths and be the most efficient and get the most out of them. I know the schedule is brutal, but I think Florida at the line of scrimmage has a chance to be top 10 on both sides of the ball, which allows 2 things. One, allows you to compete with any team that you play, but it also allows you to get away with not playing great against a team that's as good as you or a little bit worse than you. And that turns into a win, maybe not a beautiful win, but it's not a loss. So that's why I got them at 9-3. I think they go down and beat Miami. I think they beat Georgia in the cocktail party. I like what Florida has. And if DJ stays healthy, he's nice with it. It's just the truth.
Talking about SEC teams, one that I think you're bullish on, and I'd love to hear a little more about it, is I feel like we're all spending a lot of time, talking about the obvious usual suspects, right? Georgia, Alabama, and Texas. At the same time, there's a lot of other good teams. You just talked about how Florida, with a couple of things swinging in the right direction, could be a factor. You also, I know, have some thoughts on Texas A&M too, and I got to be honest, I'm one that I find myself never giving them much time or consideration. But man, they have a lot of talent. Elko can coach. They can be a factor, right?
Yeah, and I don't know why people aren't talking about Marcel Reed. I don't understand it. Like, the guy wasn't ready to play when he came in last year and still did really well. Guys, they got down 21-0 to Auburn, and Marcel Reed basically single-handedly brought them all the way back, and they dropped a pass on a 2-point conversion in overtime to lose. The guy just dropped the ball. So when you look at dual threat ability, I think Marcel throws it enough to be a threat. Obviously, he runs it well enough. But I think some people also forget last year was Mike Elko's first year. It was his first. You can't instill your culture in a year. You can instill a little bit of it, but year 2 and year 3 is when it takes hold, is when that locker room turns into the clay mold that you wanted. And Mike Elko's biggest strength is he gets so much out of every player. Why do you think it worked at Duke? Because he got the most out of every guy. If you mix that ability as a coach with the type of players that Texas A&M brings in and can bring in, it's going to work. It's going to pop. And all the stuff in the past has no bearing on what's going to happen this year. So when I look at A&M and I look at that schedule, I think 9-3 is very doable. And if they play their cards right, and maybe CJ Carr at Notre Dame, is still struggling early, they could go up to South Bend and win that game.
Jake, I'm confused why Auburn fans and are really calling for Hugh Freeze's name when he's won 7 national titles now in his tenure.
Well, look, again, I don't like the timing of it. I don't think the timing's good. But, and I'm not one that if somebody jumps off a bridge, you do too. But the funniest part is watching Alabama fans complain about it. Y'all recognize the national championship in 1941 when the rest of the world was fighting the Nazis, dog. Like, you want to sit here and complain. You recognize 3 natties when you lost the bowl game. Like, I think there's one where they went legitimately like 6-3, and some newspaper in Kentucky named them the national champion, so they took it. I'll listen to it from other fan bases. I will not listen to y'all at Alabama sit here and talk about claiming fake natties when guys are dropping down on D-Day and you're beating a bunch of, 11-year-olds on the field.
But how do you really feel, man?
Well, I mean, it's the truth. I mean, point out the lie.
Yeah. The thought, honestly, for me, of Tommy Tuberville is now a national champion by Auburn standards. Is
that's Senator Tuberville.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Well said. Touche. Hey, let's talk about Tennessee for a second, because we got news, and it wasn't a revelation, but we were waiting for Josh Heupel to solidify it. He did at the beginning of the week by, anointing Joey Aguilar as QB1. I know you guys did a Tennessee preview. We haven't talked much about Joey when we talk with you. I'd love to get your take from a guy who knows ball and what you think could happen there, because I'm kind of the mind with this guy. He's gotten a reputation being a little reckless over at App State, etc. I don't think Josh will allow that. I think his system won't allow it. But I'm also kind of intrigued by the concept of, within reason, just kind of slinging the ball around a little bit, right?
Well, look, I think he has a lot of ability, right? Yeah. He's got a lot of arm talent. That's why he takes the chances that he takes. It's because he's gotten away with it before. But if I can use a comparison, to me, when you look at Joey Aguilar's tape, he reminds me of a guy on the basketball team that is an incredibly streaky 3-point shooter, but he's going to shoot at least 8 to 10 of them a game, regardless if they're going in or not. That's what he reminds me of. Some days it's going to be great. He's going to go out there and hit 6 or 7 of them, and he's going to be one of the reasons why you win. But there's going to be other days where he's 0 for 7, and he's chunking them from the logo still. That's what worries me. And in football, unlike basketball, there ain't no offensive rebound, dog. Like, you make that mistake, the defense is getting it, or it's an incompletion. So that's why I'm a little bit worried about Joey. But I think a counterpoint to that is Heupel's system is so pre-snap oriented on where the ball is going that I think it takes a little bit of that out of Joey Aguilar. The problem's going to become if he gets bored with it and the game's tight and he wants to make a big play and he rolls out of the pocket and he throws across his body right to the backside safety who takes it all the way to the house. That's where I'm worried, is if he's going to get bored with going through all the things and saying, all right, now screen left. All right, the box is even, inside zone. How is he going to be mature enough to be able to be patient enough and then pick his chance and pick his opportunity when you do that ghost screen that Tennessee does so well, where you pump the now, the guy blocking acts like he's blocking and then takes off down the pipe? Are you going to be patient enough to set that up? That's what I don't know yet, because nobody knows that yet.
3 preseason top 10 teams naming some new quarterbacks. You got Julian Sayin over there at Ohio State. You got CJ Carr at Notre Dame. And then we've known about Ty Simpson at Alabama. But 3 teams that obviously have tons of talent on paper and don't exactly need the quarterback to be a world beater. But out of those 3 guys, who do you have the most trust in kind of elevating themselves and also elevating the guys around them?
You know, my gut tells me, because if Alabama didn't have Ryan Grubb, I wouldn't say Alabama. But I think Ryan Grubb is so good at playing to the strengths of his quarterback. That's why he's developed so many good ones that are different in style, that when I look at Ty Simpson and the type of player he is, I think Ty will be patient. I think Ty's fine with throwing the check down. I think he's fine with throwing the slant. I think he'd be fine with turning around and handing the ball off 35, 40 times a game if it's working. And Ryan's going to call it that way. Now, you can make a great argument
Crain and Company. It's badass. When do you usually start again, Jake, just for the listeners? Nice. All right, we'll be watching. All right, my man. Thanks again. Have a great week. Let's get some football and look forward to talking to you next time.
See you, Jake.
He's got me fired up.
Yeah. So you like the Stanford bet too?
Yeah.
Plus 2.5 as I'm looking at that right now.
Yeah.
Outright.
And Frank Wright can get them going for a little bit. Frank can coach a little.
Bring him home, Bob.
Yeah.
Bring him home.
That's it. I want to see what UNLV, real test for UNLV against Idaho State if they just lay them out. I could see Mullen just saying, hey, guys, let's go 10, 50 or 60 today. I think he's going to do a good job there.
I'm with it.
I mean, there was a moment we would have killed to have Dan Mullen here, right? At least I would have, and maybe not.
Yes, yeah.
I just know at one point he was in the conversation, and then it was like he's not leaving Florida. But he did leave Florida. He didn't have a choice.
What's his record over there in Florida? Yeah, I mean, they went south in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
sure,
they
but
did. I just wonder if he lost interest.
Hell of a recruiter, though.
That's what I'm thinking. It's like sometimes I think these guys go so hard, but they get burned out, you know?
Coach O wants to come back.
Yeah, well, not sure how I feel about that. I'd be more interested in Jimbo coming back than Coach O. I still am not convinced Coach O was that great a coach.
It's a fantastic. I would take Coach O in a heartbeat recruiting on this
Yeah,
Tennessee staff.
I agree with that.
1,000%.
I'm with you there.
I was listening to his interview, and they were asking him about how they got Joe Burrow because he was apparently just a lock to go to Cincinnati. And then they had to go. Coach O was like, I had to go through Joe's brother. He's like, I got him on the phone, and I said, you got 2 of them down there. He's like, you gotta reach down there and grab them because we're gonna do something special together.
By the way, did you see the piece? I guess it was on ESPN the other night. They were talking about, because my wife even recognizes it about Joe Burrow and his fit, right? He wears a lot of wild stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess his mom was a fashion designer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either. But it makes more sense. You know, Jesse Palmer's mom was in the same boat.
Really?
Yeah. It explains a little bit more.
Is she designing Joe's fits, you think?
He was saying that's
pink, honey. It's gonna look great.
No, he said that's where he learned his appreciation for, fashion. I just remember him going to that playoff game, that one that had a big fur coat. It's like, wow, I don't know about that, man. But he's a good looking dude. He can pull it off. Wouldn't work for me trying something like that. People would be, what's wrong with that guy?
You never know, Bob. Come in a fur coat.
Never know. Maybe I will once it gets cool enough. It's too hot right now.
It's gonna be cold next week.
I saw that. Yeah.
You get the first week of false fall after they put football in our system. It's mean.
It's gonna be coming right around game weekend.
Yeah,
right?
it's mean. Don't fall for it. We're gonna be right back into the 90s soon.
I'll take it.
But enjoy it for the first 4 or 5 days when you can.
Absolutely. All right, let's hit our final break. When we return, got a little not for nothing to talk about. And we'll wrap the show up. Hand things over to the Chase with Chase Thomas. We'll be back on the other side. Stick around. Under review on Fan Run Radio.
John Wall finding his new place pretty quick. Going to Prime as a little analyst.
Oh, is he really? God, we'll talk about we can talk about it tomorrow because we'll need a little time. But did you see the baseball stuff that's breaking out for broadcasting?
No.
I want to dig into this. I'll talk tonight to my buddy who will be at the football draft. ESPN is going to buy MLB.TV, really, which is huge, man. I love MLB.TV because I can't get MLB Network.
Yeah.
YouTube TV.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a fantastic.
I feel like it's pretty. It's not that expensive for all. If you're like a guy that watches every game for your team and just likes watching games around the league, like
But it's like a really reliable app. Like the functionality is good. I just wonder what ESPN's going to do with it, though. Are they including it somehow?
Oh yeah, in the whole.
But it's a smart play.
Or they just mess with it and fuck it all up.
Yeah. Stephen A. Smith is hosting studio stuff.
Let's talk about Aaron Judge.
Yeah. You will not disregard the New York Mets.
How does this impact Dak Prescott?
Yeah.
And the Dallas Cowboys.
Jesus. No doubt. Special thanks to our guests today. We had a loaded one. Ryan Callahan from GoVols 247, Graham Hall from Swamp 247, covering Florida football, and then Jake Crain, as always, from Crain & Company. Always fun to hang with Jake for a little bit. Good show tomorrow. We're going to be previewing another SEC opponent for Tennessee. Also be joined by Rick Butler with Rocky Top Insider. I haven't talked to Rick in a little while. Get some thoughts from him on everything that's going on with the Vols. Time for a little, not for nothing, but some of the rants we might have to get off our chest as we wind down another show here, getting closer to football. Mine, Sam, probably not a lot of surprise. It's going to be about my favorite NFL team, the Indianapolis Colts. Not for nothing, but can you commit to a quarterback for the long haul? I mean, so yesterday's announcement of Daniel Jones as QB1 for the upcoming season, not the season opener, the season, tells me that they've thrown in the towel on former 4th overall pick Anthony Richardson, which means that the Colts are destined for another meh season, 8-9, 9-8 record at best, with a starting quarterback who ranks 34th out of 34 QBs in EPA per pass play. And if you finish 8-9 or 9-8, you're going to get no meaningful draft capital as a result. Caller Matthew said this, and I'm with him. Should have just ridden with Richardson. I don't think he's going to be the answer, but for better or worse, you just do it because worse would have at least gotten us a pretty good early draft pick for next season. At least got us in the discussion. But here we are again. We'll be fighting this battle now perpetually. It just drives me nuts.
Fire up the 2026 NFL mock drafts, Bob.
No kidding. Who can we get at 15?
I'm looking at one right now from Field Yates. He's got the Colts at 11 taking Drew Aller.
Okay. Aller's got to show me still something. I think he's good, but I just...
Kind of looks like a Colt.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Average white quarterback.
Exactly. He fits. That tracks. Yeah, drives me nuts, man. Drives me nuts. Yeah,
they play 9 conference games, Brett. You know, you gotta you gotta schedule the Grand Valley States of the world or whoever the hell you're playing. Yeah.
Last thing as we wind down, Arch Manning too. Did you see that where he just totally dismissed his grandfather's line saying, "Yeah, I don't know not sure where he got that."
I kind of like it.
Yeah,
it's your career, Arch.
Yeah, I'd say the Manning family tree has played the football game in life pretty well. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. We'll see. All right, boys, good show today. Sam, great work by you. Appreciate it. Brett, appreciate your help as always. Jake, thank you, buddy. Good luck day 1 of school tomorrow. We will see you Friday with some in or out. I'm sure you have time to work on that. Yes. And you, the listener, we appreciate you spending time with us as always. Keep it locked in on Fan Run Radio. The Chase is next with Chase Thomas at 1 o'clock, followed by The Drive with Russell Smith at 3. Overtime with William Pattison at 6. We'll be back here tomorrow. Hope you join us then. Have a great day.